Hello, hello, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the stream. Just checking something here real quick on my PC. Perfect. All right, guys, welcome back to the stream. It's been a couple days. We're going to be taking up the Toliss A319 today. Hoping we're going to be able to see some of this Pacific Northwest ORBX scenery. It's been pretty cloudy since we've been in and out of there. It's cloudy right now. I'm hoping it will burn off and start to clear up by the time we get up there. Right now we're sitting in Las Vegas, McCarran, Kilo Lima Alpha Sierra, and we're going to be flying up to Seattle over some nice ortho scenery. Unfortunately, we got a default airport here. I'm looking for a real good payware Las Vegas. So if you guys, or even freeware, I mean, I'm just looking for an add-on add-on airport here for Las Vegas. So if you guys got a good one, let me know and I'll look into that. All right, let's jump right into it. We're in the lovely Toliss 319. If you guys are part of the Discord channel, you've seen the video that I've posted already doing a performance test with this aircraft, linking it to real-world data, and it was pretty surprising results. So if you're not part of the Discord yet, that video is going to drop live tomorrow on my YouTube channel, so make sure you get to watch that. It's pretty surprising at how awesome this aircraft is modeled. All right, let's go ahead and get things fired up here. The aircraft has been sitting on ground power. We haven't got our fuel or anything yet, but we are just sitting at the gate. The ADIRs are pretty much aligned. We just have to get a position. So let's get this box set up here. Let's get our flight plan in there real quick, and then we'll call clearance delivery on Pilot Edge. Couple Texans in the chat today. I love to see that. Got to represent. Greetings from Vancouver. Dimitri, how's it going, man? Good to have you here. The other Pacific Northwest, absolutely. All right, here we go. I'm going to type this so you guys aren't going to see me pressing keys. I'm actually going to be using my keyboard here. We're going to go Kilo Lima Alpha Sierra to Sierra Echo Alpha. Insert that there. Today we're operating this flight as Northwest 183. Going a little back in time, we have an alternate of Portland, Kilo Papa Delta X-Ray. We are flying fast, cost index 99. Our filed cruise altitude is 34,000 feet. So we'll put that there. The actual temperature is going to be minus 47. And we can go ahead and align on ref. GPS primary, here we go. All right, let's go ahead and see what they are departing. I know it's a little windy out there, so we're going to see how the wind is doing. Also, guys, I got a new PFD and ND mod. It's linked in the description. It really cleans up the displays here, makes them look even better. So I already have the Tote Demac, I hope I'm saying that right, Cockpit mod to make the textures look really, really nice. And what always bothered me was the PFD ND. Just some of the fonts and everything was not necessarily the font, but just lines and stuff weren't really correct. And this mod really cleans up. You can really tell here. It kind of makes these vertical bars here in the FMA, cleans them up a little bit. A little better contrast on the command bars. One thing that we are missing is this flight director. That center box should be black. Right now it's empty, which that kind of bothers me because we often refer to squeeze the black out of the flight director, and when you put your command bars in that little box there, you squeeze the black out of it. So can't really do it when it's hollow, but not too big of a deal. Okay, let's pull up some charts here. Las Vegas is going to be ATIS of 32.4. Let's see what we got for weather this afternoon.
McCarran 7, dew point -4, altimeter 2982, arriving runways 19 left, 19 right, 26 left, departing runways 19 left, 19 right, 26 right. Visual approaches in use VFR departures contact clearance delivery, advise on course heading, altitude, and if following is requested. Read back all runway assignments and hold short instructions. Advise on initial contact. Have information Kilo.
Or we got Kilo. Let's get the beginning of that. All I got was
Las
2982.
Vegas McCarran International Airport. 8 TIS information Kilo. 1656 Zulu. Wind 160 at Niner. Visibility 10. Sky condition clear. Temperature 37. Dew point -4. Altimeter 2982.
Ooh, nice and toasty out there today. Alright, we're going to be calling ground control on 2101. Actually, no, scratch that. Yeah, let's see, east of 1 right. So 1 right is over here. We're east of 1 right, so that is us. We're going to call them up on decimal 1. So we'll go ahead and throw that in here. And we also need to get our clearance delivery freak is going to be 18-0. Perfect. All right. Departure is, what do they say? Ones? They say 19ers. So winds were 190. They're going to be launching off of, oh man, I hope they launch us off 26. Can we do that? It's only 9 knots. If we launch off 26 and we got 190, it's a direct crosswind. We'll call clearance here real quick and then we'll put it in the box. Morning. Good afternoon, Las Vegas clearance. It's Northwest 183, looking to pick up IFR to Seattle.
183 Las Vegas clearance, no flight plan on file.
Roger, we'll refile. I swear, maybe I filed it too early. Throw it in here again. Northwest 183, 319. We are Slant Zulu. I'm going to have to hire a dispatcher. How's that? Las Vegas arriving to Seattle. Sorry guys, I'm just filing this here on my other screen.
San Luis ground, Cessna 35491 is at terminal admin, requesting taxi for southbound departure.
All right. File flight plan. Make sure that everything is correct. All right, flight plan file. We're gonna try again. Man. Preston Zimmerman says, do you prefer the 320 or the Toliss? Man, it's pretty tough. They're pretty equal right now. If the Toliss gets that BSS sound pack, it'll be hard to beat. That's for sure. Both are wonderful aircraft, though.
Taxi via Alpha 491.
Vertical Sim says you can convert Flight Tampa's LAS for XP. Oh, interesting. Check that out.
Premier 5051 X-ray, holding short of
Yeah, JCP says, unfortunately, we don't have that good LAS scenery, but Flight Tampa is making one. All right. Well, hopefully. All right, let's see if we get a hold of these guys here. Las Vegas clearance, you picking up a flight plan now for Northwest 183 to Seattle.
Northwest 183, you're logged in as November Whiskey 183, which is incorrect. It should be a 3-letter ICO code and November Whiskey Alpha. If you filed the flight plan under the correct call sign and you logged in under the incorrect call sign, that would explain why it's not coming through. I'm not getting it. Go ahead and log out and change the call sign and come back and refile.
All right. Okay, well, prior to their first merger, it was actually November Whiskey. We'll re-log in. What am I looking for? Where is it? Am I blind? Oh, here we go.
Disconnected.
Oh, I forgot the A on the call sign.
Connected to Pilot Edge.
Oh, boy.
5 Golf, contact.
Not off to a good start, guys. We're not off to a good start. I've had a very long night as well. I've only had about 3 hours of sleep. We'll get into that. Had a long trip last night.
1 X-ray, contact departure.
34.
Departure or Premier 5051 X-ray.
All right. Filed again. All right, third time's the charm. Clearance Northwest 183, looking to pick up IFR to Seattle now.
Northwest 183, Las Vegas, clear Seattle Airport, Shed 1 departure, Coaldale transition as filed. Climbing via SID, squawk 4272.
All right, clear to Seattle, Shed 1, Coaldale transition as filed. Climb via SID, squawking 4272, Northwest 183. All right. Sorry about that, guys. That was, man.
Northwest 183, Rebecca. 5051 X-ray, Santa Barbara departure, radar contact.
All right, here we go. We're going to be squawking 4272. And let's go ahead and put this in. What's the temperature? Oh, it's getting hot in the cockpit already. Let's get the APU fired up.
San Luis ground, Cessna 35491 is holding short of 29, ready for takeoff.
All right, here we go. We're going to be departing. We're going to just go ahead and put in, I think they're going to launch us off of 26 right, which in the box here, unfortunately, is 25 right.
35491.
So a little out of date there. Shed 1, Shed 9 departure. Coaldale transition. Insert that. Take a look at this. We can go ahead and do a step through. All the way out to Coaldale. After Coaldale, we're going to Lima Oscar Mike India Alpha. Hard to hear ATC. I will turn up the volume here real quick. Let me get this flight plan in here. Lima Kilo Victor. It kind of varies when we switch different aircrafts. My audio is a little bit changed from when we're flying that 73200, so we'll try to get that sorted out. We're just going to throw in 16 center for now. We will see what the arrival or what the runway is when we get up there. And Atlete Lima Kilo Victor. There's our transition. Insert that. All right, let's take a look at our flight plan. That looks good. A Roper, Tarek, Sheed, all the way out to Coaldale, and then up into Seattle. Perfect. All right, we've got our flight plan in the box. Let's get the APU bleed on. Let's go pack flow high, and let's cool the cabin down. It is hot outside. Get that back into plan mode. Let's go ahead and load up our aircraft here. Aircraft configuration. We're going to do hot and heavy today, guys. We're going to fill it up again. Let's get our cargo set. We're going to need 13.0. Boom. Boom. Perfect. We're also going to be doing a flaps 1 takeoff, so let's select one. Actually, we're going to do flaps 2 takeoff. We've got 140. Oops.
Runway 31 left on 5 mile final. Contact Palm Springs Tower.
Pierre Lane says, hi, what X vision profile do you use? Nice looking visual. I use the I believe it's the impressive preset. I think it's in the description. And I haven't modified anything from it. It's just the default one that they have. But yeah, it does make it look really nice. Really good sky colors. No flex on a flaps 2 today, guys, because it is toasty out there. So no flex. It's a toga takeoff. CG trim is 0.8 up. All right, so that is set. Let's go ahead and close up the doors.
Not sure how you got to this frequency. It's not the correct frequency, but you should be on 133.2. Climb maintain level 190.
Going retro with the beautiful Northwest livery today.
3320.
I am Dimitri says, nice PFD, Captain. How do you find the font compared to the real thing? You know, it's it's interesting you bring that up. I mean, we have the PFD mod on here right now. It cleans up the PFD and ND. The fonts are correct. I still have a little bit of a problem with the colors, maybe, or the contrast. I don't know. It seems, maybe it's a contrast issue, but it seems a little, I don't know, a sharp? I'm not sure. Like, this panel is really orange, but I mean, it's the right color. I think it might just be a contrast issue in the sim. I mean, you can just look, like, when I look at the 2D, I'm sorry, when you look at the 3D cockpit here and then the 2D up here, this 2D pop-out looks as real as can be. So I think it might just be a contrast issue in the shades or whatnot. But all right, we've got the cabin cooling down. That is good. Let's finish up setting up our box here. We can't do our secondary, nothing to hard tune. Init B, we are going to have, what did we say? Zero fuel weight is 25.5. And our zero fuel weight is 56.5. And our block fuel is 13.0. $220 extra gas, that's good. We've got fuel for Portland is our alternate. We're actually going to increase this to, can I do 60 minutes? Nope. How about 45 minutes? Final, there we go. Can I put one? So what I'm adjusting here is the fuel predict page. Well, that's 1 minute, we don't want to do that. This is a slightly older format than what I'm used to. We have minutes and hours in our McDude. This is, I guess it's just minutes. So I guess you could do 60 minutes for 1 hour. But I'm adjusting the final time remaining of fuel. As you can see, it takes away from that extra. We got plenty of extra gas. All right, everything looks to be set up there. Let's clear out the co-pilot's McDo. We'll put him on the perf page. And let's take a look at our departure. It's going to be the Shed 1 or Shed 1, depending on how you want to say it. There it is. Let's go ahead and take a look at this all the way out to Coaldale. If we look at the SID, the top altitude is going to be flight level 190, as you can see up there. So we'll set 190 in the box. And I keep opening the wrong page. Let's go ahead and set up our pushback. Get ready to get off the gate here, run a checklist, and be on our way. Go right here.
Round to cockpit, plan acknowledged. Call me through the menu.
Carta says hello there, or hard to hear ATC. Sorry, Carta. Let me go ahead and adjust that right now for you. I'm going to turn up the ATC volume. You guys let me know how the volume is sounding when we get going, too, because I had to adjust all my settings from flying that 73200 on the last stream. Ernam976, hello, Dust. Hello, everyone. How's it going, Ron? Good to have you here. JCP123, Toga. Yeah, it's Toga time. Got a donation coming in. I am Dimitri. Donated. Says, keep up the good work, Captain. Awesome. Thank you for the donation, Dimitri. Really appreciate it. You are awesome. I'm going to keep it up. I've got, if you haven't watched already, we've got a video coming out tomorrow about this specific aircraft, the Toliss 319, and its performance, how awesome it is. And I've actually had ideas to do another advanced McDo series. I'll get into that as soon as we get off the gate. But let's get this aircraft on the road here. Let's get rolling. So we can run a checklist. I'll get my checklist out here. I actually got one printed now, so I don't have to do it from memory. All right, make song tail numbers on board and check gear pins and covers have been removed. We need to do our flow actually before we do any of this. So let's go ahead and do our flow. We are on ground power. Get rid of that. Let's get the signs on. Arm those. Nav lights should have been on from the get-go. We can turn the beacon on because we're getting ready to push. Since we're on APU, pack flow is going to be normal no matter what we select. And get that to there. All right, so now we can run the checklist. Signs on and auto ADIRs are Navin. Fuel 13 required. I'm sorry, 12 required, 12.9 on board. Engine... Oops, nope, altimeters are 29er82. Let's go ahead and set those. 29er82 set, which we can cheat here, which is going to be 1010. Set there. EFB is checked. Pre-flight checklist complete. 4-start checklist. Windows, doors, and slides. They're closed and armed. Beacon is coming on. It's on. Thrust levers idle. Parking brake is on. Transponder is on. Transponder. 4-start checklist completed. We don't need a call for push. I know that. I've already been scolded enough times. Let's get out of here.
Ground to cockpit. Tow is driving up.
X camera's coming, guys. Probably the very next stream we'll have X camera. Just makes the view switching a little bit easier. I do like it. It is a little tricky to set up, but I think I'm getting the hang of it, so we'll have X camera for the next go-round. Christopher Levin says, X-plane is weird. It's bright and sunny outside, and the cockpit is pitch dark. I think it's kind of just a contrast issue. It's bright and sunny outside, it is, but the cockpit is nice and shaded. Especially around 12 noon, the sun is directly above you, so you're not going to have any of those long shadows left and right in the cockpit, and you're actually protected inside the cockpit there. So I do think it is a little exaggerated dark, but it is it is darker inside the cockpit. Carta Jawal says, did you manage to look at APSoft Performance Calculator, how it compares to the Toliss one? I found it tends to be fairly different in flex and performance. Carta, unfortunately, I have not been able to look at it. I am going to look at it this week. I just had, it's been a crazy couple days with real life and work and getting that other video out to you guys. So I am going to look at it, I promise. I did a performance video. It is released. If you're in the Discord, you have the link to it. If not, it'll be published tomorrow. Brakes release, clear push. And what I'm going to do is we'll compare your performance calculator to what Toliss will calculate and to what the real aircraft calculated. Because when I did the performance video, the aircraft was the Toliss default performance calculator was pretty close. Was pretty close to what the real aircraft spit out. But just a dude 0815, you should go Pan Am in the future. Oh, it'll happen, man. It'll happen. My mother was actually a flight attendant for Pan Am, so we're gonna get some good Pan Am action for you. Vertical simulations. V1 Sim, have you ever flown into Tampa with your airline? It's my home, and I'm working on a payroll project for X-Plane. What are your thoughts on it? Absolutely, Vertical Sim. I'm there quite a bit, actually. I try to avoid it in the summer, though, because, as you know, the weather in Tampa can be pretty spotty, and you can get delayed. But I do fly into Tampa quite a bit. It's a beautiful airport. All right, let's get these engines fired up. We're going to single-engine taxi out today, guys, because it is 30C out there. We're going to see how the single-engine taxi works in the Toliss. We got our bleed pressure and cranking one. Here we go. Really, really can't wait for a BSS sound pack for this aircraft. It will be a game changer. That is for sure. James Donlin, you can really appreciate all the technology in the A319 after flying the 737-200. Yes, definitely. I'm looking forward to just having a nice, relaxing stream. Although we were off to a bad start, we couldn't get our clearance. But hey, man, we're going to get up and cruise. We're going to relax. I want to talk to you guys a little bit about becoming a pilot. There's been a couple PMs I've been receiving from new guys that are either just starting or want to get started. So we'll touch base on that again just a little bit. I know we talked about it in the last stream, but we'll start number 2. We'll talk about it a little bit more.
Attention all aircraft out of power spike. If you're trying to call, go ahead and call back.
We'll talk about my Super late night I had last night.
71 Kilo just went missed, 3-1 left.
71 Kilo, you go ahead and enter right traffic, runway 31 left, clear to land.
Alright, brakes are set. You're clear disconnection. We've been out front.
791, contact Albuquerque Center 134.32.
Spooling up nicely. Storehead, fly into Area 51. They can't stop all of us. Yeah. I don't know, man. U.S. Air Force is pretty powerful. I don't know if I want to test it. Alright, there's the changeover.
5791, contact Albuquerque
Disconnecting
Center
hand signals. We got a good
134.32.
start on 1. We'll set that. We're going to do a flaps 2 takeoff. And we are single engine taxiing, so we're going to go yellow electric pump on. We're going to turn the bleed off. And we're going to test out how the single engine taxi works. If it doesn't work very well, we're going to fire up the second engine.
Disconnected and bypass pin has been removed. Hand signal will be on the right. We'll see you next time and have a great flight.
Alright, thanks for the smooth push. We'll see you next time.
5051 X-ray Los Angeles Center, roger.
We're going to go to hold pad 4, which should be just out in front here of Charlie 4. And here we go. Engine ice is off. Fuel electric pump is on. Rudder trim 0 after start. Checklist complete. Let's do a single engine taxi out here. Release the parking brake. Seems to be working okay. I know that the flight factor gets a little finicky when you try to single engine taxi. Not having a proper tiller is what's kind of killing it, I think.
We couldn't get a hold of it. We went 7600, and
Alright, I'm pretty sure there's supposed to be a ramp hold line right here, so we're going to just go ahead and come to a stop. We are Charlie 4. Let's set the brake and give him a call. 21-1. Las Vegas ground, good afternoon. Northwest 183. We're at hold pad 4 off the D gates, ready to taxi with Kilo.
Oh, 226 Charlie Mike, for cancellation is received as pass for the I-7. Northwest 183 Las Vegas ground. Runway 26 runway 26 right, via Charlie Bravo.
26 right via Charlie Bravo, Northwest 183. Alright, ho, fuel check. That's when I would go ahead and turn on these lights right here and blind them for cutting me off. But hey, no anger today. We're happy. We're happy. Alright, Charlie Bravo to 26 right. That is what we briefed. Taxi light is coming on. Oops, it was on. I should have turned it on earlier, or turned it off when we stopped. You come down Charlie in the summertime, in real life, it's got a little bit of a downhill slope to it, and you will be cooking those brakes if you're two-engine taxiing.
San Bernardino ground, Cessna River 52 Kilo Bravo, mic check.
Really clear and bright out here today. Oh, you know what?
And or 52 Kilo Bravo, if you were trying to reach me a few
This should be a sign of how tired I actually am. Both engines are started. I don't know what I'm doing, guys. APU's coming off. I thought it handled a little light on one engine.
San Bernardino ground, Cessna River 52 Kilo Bravo, transient parking to the north.
Alright, let's do a flight control check. I'm sorry about that. I've had 3 hours of sleep, guys. 3 hours. Here we go. Full up. Full down. Neutral. Full left. Full right. Neutral. Rudders, full left.
Swing stars.
Full right.
Hotel for Atlanta.
Neutral. Let's go auto brakes max. Takeoff config. Radar PWS comes
Charlie Alpha. Have a good day.
on. TARA. And let's make a PA. Flight attendants, prepare for blast off.
Got it. Cat 7. Thanks.
Mr. Dillon, hey F1, or hello V1, hello Mr. Dillon. TBM Life says Tampa is a nice airport in real life and in the sim, thanks to Vertical Simulations. Well, Vertical Sim, I'm going to check that airport out as soon as we finish the stream, man. I'm going to take a look at it. Gaming Ninja Sheep, hey, finally caught you live. Greetings from Finland. Wow, that's a little journey. Greetings, glad to have you here, Gaming Ninja. Carda Jawal says, no bother, just wanted your opinion on the calculator I used fairly often, includes 320 and 319 and Boeing and E-Jets. Awesome, man. We will definitely, like I said, I'm definitely going to check it out. Spin Cycle, hi V1, from one bus driver to the next. How's it going? Awesome, good to have you here, buddy. It is going good, a little bit tired, but hey, we're streaming, we're live, we're in an Airbus, it's a good day. Dougal says the lack of BSS is what sent me the flight factor out. I can agree, that sounds like a valid reason to me, Dougal. V1, if you get the chance, do give some input to Vertical Simulations. His stuff is excellent. Awesome. Okay, Vertical Sim, I am going to write this down, and I'm definitely going to be checking out your work. But definitely looking for some airports. I just got a new SSD, so I can put some ortho on the East Coast there in Florida. And if you got some East Coast airports, that will be pretty cool. So I'm definitely going to check it out, man. We will hopefully be able, maybe we can even feature it on the next stream. So let's go ahead and set the brakes here. Let's do everything right here. Make sure I'm not missing anything, because I am tired. So we've got tower frequency for 26 right is going to be 19.9er. And departure freak, he didn't give me one, so let's check the SID. It's going to be 25.9, I believe. Yeah, Las Vegas departure is 125.9er. It's kind of sad, I know that. 125.9er in the standby. All right, we are ready to go. Before takeoff checklist has been completed, let's give him a call. Las Vegas Tower, good afternoon, Spirit Wings. Oh no, we're not Spirit Wings today. We're Northwest 183, holding short 26 right, ready for departure.
Northwest 183, Las Vegas Tower, wind 160 at 90, runway 26 right, clear for takeoff.
26 right, clear for takeoff, Northwest 183. All right.
91 X-ray, maintain 14,000.
Let's light them up.
Altimeter 2977.
We were Spirit Wings on the last stream, so. $4272, that is correct. All right.
Approved. Let me know when you're ready. Radio check, please. Loud and clear. Roger.
Runway heading is 256, that checks. Just want to confirm he did say we're cleared for takeoff. Tower, just want to confirm Northwest 183, you did say we are cleared for takeoff, 26 right.
Northwest 183, affirmative, runway 26 right, clear for takeoff.
26 right, clear for takeoff, Northwest 183, thank you. 50%, spool them up. Toga, let's go. Nose forward on the stick. I should have terrain on my page, but it's visual so we can see outside. Shouldn't be a problem. 80 knots, thrust set. Neutral by 100.
San Bernardino Tower, Cessna November 52 Kilo Bravo, holding short, runway
V1,
06.
rotate. Positive rate, gear up.
2 Kilo Bravo, San Bernardino Tower, runway 6, clear for takeoff, wind calm.
We're navin'.
Clear for takeoff, runway 06. Zulu Bravo. Thank you.
Lever climb. Let's get the nose down. Positive trend in airspeed. Here we go. Thrust climb, auto thrust. We're above flap speed. Let's go flaps 1. Ooh, we are heavy. Oh wow, we retracted both flaps? What? That wasn't good. Maybe I double clicked that flap button there. Here comes S-speed. Flap 0 after takeoff. Checklist. Approaching a rebel. It's a heavy one. Autopilot a 1. Let's take a look at what we got outside here.
Northwest 183, contact departure.
Departures, Northwest 183. Almost did it again. Out constraint star, we're going to pay attention to this one. There's a lot of restrictions on this SID. There is Roper below 7,000. Departure, good afternoon, Northwest 183, 7 climbing via the shed 1.
Northwest 183, Las Vegas departure, radar contact.
Out constraint star, we are looking good. Aircraft is behaving properly. Spec Life says V1 Sim. Oh, back up another guy. Spin Cycle says you started both engines, bro. Oh yeah, man, it's gonna be one of those days. I could tell. I can tell. You called in sequence and tossed the number 2 up. Awesome. Well, good thing I am not doing a check ride today, guys. I can just say that. Fatigue is real. Spec Life also says, V1 Sim, do you only fly the A320 or the A319? I know a lot of pilots that fly both, or does your airline not have 319s? Spec Life, I fly all 3 of them, the 319, 20, and 21, as well as the Neo. Spin Toggle says, I hear it, I finished a trip last night at midnight, didn't get home till 2 a.m. Yep. That's about right. I finished a trip. Well, I finished the leg into. I went up into Detroit, Michigan last night. I got to the hotel at 1 o'clock in the morning. Out constraint star. We're at 9,000. Things are looking good. And in order to get home, I didn't want to wait till my flight tonight, so I decided to take the first flight out and jump seat. I actually jump seated on a 737-800 back down to Dallas. And the jump seat flight that I wanted to get on was at 6 o'clock in the morning. And the hotel was about 45 minutes away from the airport. So got to my room around 1 a.m. and I set my alarm for 4 a.m., got in a van at 4:20, got to the airport and got in the jump seat. So that is why I'm a little bit tired. Here we go, thrust, climb, climb. I'm keeping these up just to make sure we're complying. Spin Cycle, when's the 2080 Ti arriving? I don't know about that, man. My 1070 is doing pretty good. I like my 1070. It's been a good graphics card for me. Just got the left side a little bit here. There we go. Beautiful ortho coming out of Vegas. This is all Fork Boy ortho scenery. You can find it in the description. Mogu Mugu in Boeing aircraft 737-787-777 or 777. The FMC generates a green-colored predictive arc on the ND, which indicates at what distance the aircraft will have the desired altitude. That's pretty cool.
Northwest 183, climb maintain level 190, contact Los Angeles 133.2.
Alright, climb unrestricted, flight level 190 and 133.2, I believe, for Northwest 183.
That's correct. 3020 Mike, Center Mike ground.
Alright, so we gave us a climb unrestricted, so we go open climb, 133.2. We're above 10,000 feet. Let's go ahead and do a flow instead of looking outside at all the pretty lights. Let's get the lights off here. We can close the wing light. Ding the flight attendants, let them know we're above 10,000 feet. We are in open climb. We're climbing out at 340. We're going to change that. I'm going to go select speed. We're going to climb out at about 310. Treat it like a real 319. I don't like going super fast in the 319s at low altitude just because I feel that metal fatigue is a real thing. And it's pretty dense air down here. I mean, it's no problem, but for my personal preference, I don't like to haul butt down low in a 19. Plus, it's loud. Center, good afternoon. Northwest 183 is 13, climbing flight level 190.
Northwest 183, Los Angeles Center, climb maintain flight level 340.
Climb maintain flight level 340, Northwest 183. All right, 34,000 feet is blue. Our climb checks are complete. Let's go take a look back out here in the window. Ooh, yeah, that's a good one right there. Mogu, you were saying something about the glide. As far as I'm aware, the Airbus doesn't have a indication like that on the ND. I don't know if it's software related. I don't know if some companies can pay for it. We do have a glide line that pops up under certain conditions, but nothing like you are talking about, where the green arc would reach the desired altitude. I had that when I flew the Embraers, the 190s, and that was really nice. It actually,
4 miles east of Ontario Airport, Ontario.
it actually was more challenging coming to the Airbus because I didn't have that little line to tell me where my desired altitude level off was at, so I had to go back to doing math.
3020 Mike, clear to San Diego Airport.
TBM Life, NK, NWA. Yeah, it's they're looking at my notes right here in front of me, and I got NWA, and then I had NK above it, so.
Correction, heading 265 without delay.
Actually gonna get rid of that, so I have NWA right in front of my face.
Departure frequency 125.2.
Mr. Dillon FM says a small arrow, yeah, for bottom. Oh yeah, bottom of descent. Duh. Yeah, we have bottom of descent and top of descent arrows. You can see it right here. This blue arrow is the top of climb, and then you would have one obviously on the inverse on the bottom of descent. And we also have a top of descent arrow, but there is no arming like you can do in the Boeing. So you have to manually initiate the descent. I thought you were talking about something else. I apologize. India Virtual Aviation says, are you using XP Realistic? XP Realistic? No, I am not. I am just using X Vision at the Impressive preset. And let's take a look at the plugins here. We can actually go over. So I got my landing plugin. I've got Pilot Edge, X Economy. I got my another landing speed plugin here, the newer version. Airfoil Labs, Avitab. And let's take a look here. SAM, I have the SAM plugin, that's the gate plugin. Real View, that's what I was looking for. I use Real View for camera shake and all that. Default weather, for now. We're going to get a weather program at some point, but right now it's default weather. I am Dimitri says, get ready for days like this when the baby comes. Yep, it's funny, I actually kind of thought of that this morning when my alarm went off in a 3-hour window. I was like, well, this is what's going to be happening on the regular, so I might as well just get up and get used to it now. And Yeah, it'll be fun. There could be some interesting streams. I may have to go back to just publishing videos. Fonawa Tank says, will one day flight in Europe? Maybe. Fonawa, it's a possibility. As far as X-Plane flying in Europe, we are going to be doing a V1 Visits Europe tour. We're going to take 320, unless the 319 has BSS sounds. If the 319 comes out with BSS sounds, we might have to take the 319 over because I think it'd be a little bit more exciting. But if not, we're going to take the 320 to Europe. We're going to ferry it over there. We're going to fly it all around. You guys have put some airports in the Discord formally. We're going to get some sceneries for that, and then we're going to end up flying it back. So I got my buddy he's an actual artist. He's designing a livery right now for V1 Sim. If you guys are good at designing liveries and that's something that you would like to do, you know, if you have some spare time and you want to design a livery for the channel, go ahead and do it and post it up in the Discord, and we can all take a vote on it, and we can pick one. But I'm not going to ask you guys to do that. It's just if you want to, if that's something that you enjoy doing. Spin Cycle says commuter life ain't it grand. Oh yeah, Spin Cycle. I commuted for about 6.5 years, and it's a different career, man. It's a different career commuting and commuting to work and flying this job than it is being based where you live. So if you guys aren't familiar with what he's referencing, as an airline pilot, you have the option to live pretty much anywhere you want to, depending on who you work for. And the only problem with that is if you live in, for instance, say I live in Texas and I was based in Philadelphia, you can do that, but you have to show up for work still on time. So if you have an 8 a.m. show time on a Monday in Philadelphia, that means you have to fly out on your day off on Sunday, most likely, because there's not going to be a flight to get you into Philadelphia on Monday in time. So you're going to have to fly out Sunday night. Most airlines have a policy where you have to list for at least 2 flights. So you have to give yourself 2 flights to get there. So you probably have to leave mid-evening or early evening, maybe even the afternoon, depending on the frequency of the airport that you're flying out of, on your day off, just to get to your base. Then you have to spend the night in a hotel or a crew room or a crash pad. Crash pad is just a fancy word for a very unfancy place to lay down and sleep for a few hours before you report for duty. Some pilots have rent out some hotel blocks, or some rooms in hotels they block out. Some are just small apartments that are shared with 4 or 5 guys and gals maybe, and all commuting to work, and everybody's tired. So it's totally different lifestyle. And then on the end of your trip, let's say you finish up your trip on a Thursday, and if you don't live in base, now you have to catch a flight home, right? Well, what if your trip ends at 9 o'clock and 9 p.m. and the last flight back to your home base was at 8:30? Well, you probably just missed your flight home, so now you got to spend another day off at your base where you don't live and then commute home. So if you only had 3 days off between trips, now you really only have 1 day off, because you're going to come home on one of your days off, and you're going to have 1 day off to do laundry and change, and then the next day you commute out again. So it can really be draining on a pilot, and that was a big reason for me kind of shifting gears and trying to get base somewhere where I wanted to live, because it really is a different career when you can drive to the airport and just show up to the airplane that you're going to fly. Dougal says, I'm currently on a borrowed GTX1070 as my 1070 died. Oh man, that's a shame. I'm sorry to hear that. The 970 is a good card though, so I mean, I'm curious how your performance is doing. I mean, I've got friends that fly X-Plane with the 970, so 970 is a good card. Shouldn't be too bad. We're probably well above standard. Yes, we are. We got standard set once, twice, 3 times. STDs for you and me. We're at 27.8 climbing up. Let's go ahead and manage the speed now. Yeah, we're super heavy. Let's go ahead and let's do a 7.7 climb out. Make sure everything else is good. Let's do a status page check over here. Oil's good, vibes are good. Somebody was asking about vibes the other day. They had about 1.2 or something. That's normal. As long as your vibrations are in the green, it's totally normal, and it's not a maintenance write-up. It's once they become amber, and depending on the aircraft and the engine you have, that limit may be in the 4s or 5s,
3020 Mike.
and that would be something to be concerned of. But if as long as they're in the green, you have nothing to be concerned about for vibes there. This is one page that bothers me. I was looking at this the other day in the 319, in the real one, when we're flying down to Mexico. There is no gray here. Now, I don't know. I know that this whole avionics suite that Toliss has modeled is a much, much older one than I have been accustomed to, especially when you look at the initialization. I can't get to it now because we're airborne, but the CG and zero fuel weight. So it's not inaccurate. It's just one that I'm not familiar with, and I don't recall if I've ever even flown one with this date of avionics suite. So I don't know if this is accurate for the version that they modeled, but as far, it just looks weird to me because in my experience, the aircraft that we fly, these are no gray boxes there. But everything else looks good. At least the high pressure valves are closed. I know in the flight factor, the high pressure valves are open in flight, which is actually a write-up. I talked about that a little bit. The HP valves need to be closed at this power setting. So this is a correct display of the valve positions here. Pressurization looks good. We're in the closed configuration. It looks like to be a little open there, essentially. Thing looks good there. Electrical looks good. Hydraulics look good. Fuel about to finish off that center tank. Actually, it is finished. And you can see the valves are closed, and we are draining from the wing tanks. Oops. APU's off. Hot air valve. Ooh, it's cold. Let's go ahead and let's get the cabin back to normal temps here. We had the air blasting because it was warm on the ground. Everything else looks good. Cool. Nice little cruise check. Let's get back out here looking at the nice mountains. Slam Cannon. He says, not sure what your opinion is on this V1. I sat with a NZ Air 319. I'm going to assume that's New Zealand Air 319 pilot. And during our conversation, he expressed his doubts about the Neo's longevity in terms of its engines. Any thoughts on that? Well, I'll tell you what. The Neo, depending on who makes them, there's two companies that make the Neo engine right now. It's Pratt & Whitney and what's the other one? I'm sure you guys know. But when the Neo first came out, there was definitely issues with the, or is it IAE? Do they make the Neo motor? Shoot, I don't even. It's in my books. It would actually tell us. You can actually look it up right here. If you go to the data page, you can see what engines you have on the aircraft status page. These are the IAE V25. So I fly so many different engines, guys. I don't remember them all. I just looked right here. But on the Neo motors, when they first came out, they were definitely causing issues. We were actually restricted.
127.45. Enjoy your flight.
127.45. Thank you, sir. Have a good one. Definitely going to get a radio stack. Oakland Center, good afternoon. Northwest 183, we're 33.2, climb and fly level 340.
North 183, Oakland Center, roger.
So about the Neos, they were definitely having issues, guys. They were with delaminating, and I actually have some pictures. We smoked a motor coming out of, was it Denver? And it was a low-speed report. It wasn't me flying, but I was there, and I have pictures of it, but I can't show them, unfortunately, because of the patent on the way that the fan blades are designed or whatever. They didn't want the design to be revealed, so I can't show any of those photos, but they were having delamination issues with the fan blades and stuff, and then they had some other issues with chip detect, basically basically there is a very simple explanation is there's a magnet that is in the oil filtration, and if there's any metal shavings in the oil, that'll be attracted to that magnet, and when that magnet has enough shavings on it, it will connect a circuit, and that will trip the that'll trip a warning. And essentially, it's called a chip detect. That was going on with the Neo motors, and so we had all sorts of issues, and we actually were restricted below 30,000 feet. But they have since then apparently fixed it. We no longer have any more restrictions on the Neo, and I tell you what, guys, the fuel flow on the Neo is pretty incredible. I mean, you'll be up here in a 320, fully loaded, doing 7.9 Mach, burning 2,000 pounds a side. Right now, we're burning, let's see, I don't have my phone, do a quick conversion of kilograms to pounds. We're burning 1,200 a side, so let's see what that is. We go 1,200 kilograms to pounds, just as quick and dirty. It'd be 2,600 pounds a side, that's pretty accurate for the CEO motor. And we're in a 319, guys, and we're burning 2,600 pounds a side. The Neo would be burning 2,000 a side on a bigger airplane carrying more people. So I think that it is, I don't know how long it will be around. I think it's going to be around for a little while. I especially think the 321 XLR is going to have a good career as an aircraft, because you can allow companies with very high capacity seating to fly very long ranges. You don't have to change your configuration in the cabin. A lot of times on the LR 321, you have to change your. Oops, somebody just got violated. On the standard, on the 321 LR, you have to have a certain cabin configuration, and you can't have a high capacity cabin to run the LR. It just doesn't work. You have to take seats out for weight. So I don't know. I think they'll be around for a little while. The 220s, or the formerly known as the C series, that's going to be pretty sweet. That's going to be the new standard. So I definitely think that the 220s are going to be around for quite a while. India Virtual Aviation, V1 simulations. Sometimes we can see on PFD Manflex 55 SRS runway auto thrust boost. Sometimes runway won't display. What is the reason? So the reason for that is, I believe, now I would have to look it up, but off the top of my head, I think it has to do with the RNAV departure, and depending on what kind of... Is that for us? Hope it wasn't for us. Nope. It has to do with the type of departure procedure you're doing. If you have an RNAV departure linked to a runway, I don't think it's going to say runway. If you have one of the two, and then if you have a departure procedure that is just a vector departure, you're going to get runway and the runway track on departure. So it has to do with your SID, your standard instrument departure procedure that you have loaded in the box in order for that runway or no runway to pop up on the FMA column.
Confirm we have information Yankee Delta 57.
That leads me to whoa, what happened there? Oh yeah, we're just turning. A little bit of turbulence. So real quick, I'll get into it now before I go to more of the comments. But I had somebody was talking on the Discord about wanting to see more videos, edited videos, I guess, of the Airbus, kind of like the pilot series and the professional series. And while the professional series is pretty much done, because that was supposed to just be a day in the life of an Airbus pilot from gate to gate, I do have the pilot series, which is going to still revolve around technical stuff and not engine failures, but mechanical failures. But I do have a new idea now that I am going to do. I think it's going to be a good one. It's going to be advanced MCDU, MCDU tips and tricks, and then we can also talk about ND displays and stuff. So I'm going to be publishing, they're going to be shorter videos. We're only going to talk about one thing at a time, and that way it'll be easier for me to edit them and get them out to you guys in a timely manner. But we're really going to dive into the box and little things about the box. And there's people want to know about step altitudes, which vertical revision, I can't do a step altitude here. At least this is not the page I'm familiar with saying. Normally do a step alt, I'd have to look in the flight factor. If you hit the vertical revision page over here, you could put in a step altitude. Somebody also asked about request update at. This is just for your INS But yeah, I think it'll be a cool little series. We're going to get into it. We'll talk about one thing at a time, really look at in detail of little things that are going on inside the McDudes to help you guys get a better understanding of the Airbus. So, and we'll also talk about signs and, you know, the speed reference system, the SRS, and the FMA column. So I think that will be a cool little series for you guys. I'm not sure when I'm going to get started on it. Hopefully soon. I'm trying to finish up the Piston series. I got about 4 episodes left on the Piston series. But that's kind of what I have on the plate for that. So hopefully you guys will be interested in that. Oh man, look at that view. Dougal says, man, that ortho is something else. Yeah, it sure is. This, like I said earlier, Fork Boy ortho. This is stunning. It looks better than real life. That's the problem. It looks too good. Spin Cycle. Hey, I flew the 190 too. I actually liked the airframe. Hated the flying it did though. Bus trips are much, much better. Yeah. I like the I like the 190 as well, man. But you hated the flying out the 190. Yeah.
One center gave jet 850, flight level 260.
Sounds like you might be a blueberry.
Jet 850, Oakland Center, roger.
I was just talking to Spin Cycle. Cienti says, V1 simulations. Have you thought about a group flight on VATSIM? No, I have not yet. I have not thought about a group flight on VATSIM. It could be kind of fun, though, if we're doing VATSIM over to Europe and maybe we have a group of, you know, subscribers, whatever you guys want to join me in the flight over. And, you know, I can stream it and we can all be talking to each other on VATSIM and fly on the route. I think that would be a cool idea. So that's another great idea that I'm going to jot down here in my notes as you guys come up with some great ideas of things to do for the channel. And I want this channel to stay with its subscribers and with you guys. I want to produce content that you want to see. I don't just want to get up here and do a flight from A to B every time and blah blah blah. I want to do stuff that you guys want to see. And if you stop learning, then I've stopped doing my job, and I don't want to do that. I want you guys to learn, and I want you guys to enjoy the content that you're watching. So that's why I take notes when you guys put these good ideas out there. So VATSIM group flight, I'm writing that one down. That's an awesome idea. Holsinga, Fizz Holsinga, man, I'm sorry, I'm butchering your name. I apologize. At V1 Sim, IAE or CFM, which one do you prefer? English is not my first language, so sorry for the bad spelling. Hey, that looks perfect to me. I'm sorry for my bad pronunciation. I prefer the IAE engines, man. I think they look cooler, they sound cooler. They got the traditional reverse. You know, you got the whole slide panel. You don't have the flower pedal reverse. So I like the IAE engines, man. Who doesn't like a good sawmill? Mogu, sir, have you read Mike Ray's A320 Pilot Handbook? Thank you for answering the predictive art question. No problem. And have I read Mike Ray's A320 Pilot Handbook? I don't, it's not coming off the top of my head. I do have an A320 handbook that I use for training that I downloaded. I don't know who the author was. I have my iPad right here. Let me see if it was the same one. Oh, no, you know what? This is a new iPad. Wait, hold on. Let's see. iBooks, maybe it's synced. Books, authors. I don't have it on here, so I don't know. I apologize. I do have one book about the A320. It's like an A320 advanced guide that I used in training. But I'm not sure if it's Mike Ray's or not. Real time 12345 says, oops, I just looked at our airplane here. Good evening, Captain. Greetings from the Netherlands. Well, greetings. Have a safe flight. Just saw the hidden Toliss 319 versus real world data performance test. Video amazing. Join the Discord channel. Absolutely, guys. If you haven't joined the Discord, I'm going to be posting my uploaded videos in there a day early so you guys can check it out before it actually publishes and goes live on the YouTube page. So right now, I do have an unpublished secret video It's the Toliss 319 Performance Test version 2. And essentially, I took the performance from a real 319 that I flew a few days ago and put it right into the sim, and we tested out how it worked out. And it was very surprising. So you guys will probably enjoy that video. It will be, if you're not a member of the Discord though, you don't have the link, it will be dropping around 4 a.m. Texas time tomorrow morning.
And wind now 29006.
I am Dimitri. The Kalos freeware from Poker 2012 CHU on org, paired with the Las Vegas VFR by BJ and Man. Both three is pretty good. Okay, Dimitri, thank you for the recommendation there. I will take a look at those as well, the Kalos freeware. Yeah, I'm just surprised that we don't have a really, really good X-Plane 11.3 native Vegas scenery. I mean, maybe not even the scenery, because the scenery is pretty good. I mean, the default scenery around Vegas is pretty good. But the actual airport itself, I'm just kind of surprised we don't have it. Spin Cycle says, I'm very fortunate. In my 12 years at the airlines, I've only commuted 2 of it. Awesome. That is good, man. You, that's good. Try to keep it that way. Try to keep it that way. Dougal says, so far the 970 is only just below what I got on the 1070, so you're right. Yeah, that 970 is a good card, man. Wingman asks, I missed the beginning of your video. Do you have malfunctions enabled? Yes, I sure do. And I'll show you guys, if you're unfamiliar with how the fault scenarios works here, I have enable random faults on. Excuse me, just make sure we are, we're still 500 miles. Okay, we got time. And what this does, the flight time factor, basically will accelerate faults based on how much time you have in the airplane. So in real life, you know, you don't fly an airplane expecting parts to fail or malfunctions to happen. So there's kind of a baseline of how far apart things happen, which is it's pretty thin, generally speaking, unless you get a turd of an airplane like I had the other day that was just everything was broken on it. But the flight time factor allows you to accelerate the mean time between faults, and I have it right now set on a setting of 100. And if you guys have been watching my streams, almost every time that I fly the Toliss, something, it's mostly been small so far, thank goodness, little things pop up. And I love that about the Toliss, because especially as an Airbus guy, you know, I'm typed in the airplane obviously, and I want to expand my knowledge as much as I can and use procedures and abnormal procedures in the sim, because hopefully if I ever have to use it in real life, you know, it'll bring some frequency to that, or I'll be a little more, what's the word I'm looking for, familiar. So I mean, I had one the other day. We had an ADIRS, or like an IR fall or an IR fail, but we could recover the ADR or something like that. So I actually pulled out my actual checklist from my work iPad, and I ran the procedure, and we figured it out, secured it. I've had ND fail, I've had a radio panel fail, I've had a couple other things here and there. So I mean, it's really cool to have this implemented in the airplane. I think this is the second best option than how FlyJ Sim does theirs, essentially. FlyJ Sim has kind of the same thing. It tracks everything that you do, and it builds up over time, and then stuff will wear out, and you can replace parts. I really think that is cool. Replacing parts on an Airbus might be a little exaggerated, because I mean, you're not really going to be replacing engines, but you know, those JT8Ds on that 73200, man, they were prone to engine fires, so it works really good for the FlyJ Sim series, which is awesome. And then this is the next best thing, I think, what Toliss has designed here, having some type of fault injection, because I love getting in this airplane knowing that not everything is going to be 100% of the time. So you have to, it brings purpose to doing checklists and making sure you're checking your status pages and all that stuff. CFM and Leap 1Bs. Yes, JCP, that is correct. I always the Leap acronym always gets me. I don't refer to them as Leap, but I'm sure it is in the book somewhere.
Ready to copy.
When you start flying up for a while, man, you just show up to the airplane and you look at the McDo and you're like, all right, this is the engines we have on today, and you go from there.
Victor 5, Phoenix VR, Papa X-ray Romeo.
Spin Cycle says there was also a shaft warping issue in the Pratts, which led to the dual cooling units being installed. Yes, and that's actually pretty cool. So on the Airbus, when it's really hot out, oh my gosh, here we go, look at this. Speaking of faults, guys, you jinxed me.
Contact tower 120.3.
We just lost our McDo. Awesome. Alright, so we are going to be off of this one now.
Number 520 Yankee Kilo, Eagle
Autopilot 1 still engaged.
Airport, Gypsum, 6
Cool. Well, you guys jinxed me. Now we got to do the flight without a McDo on the captain's side. Not a big deal. We'll look up the procedure here in a minute. We'll try to... Actually, let's look it up now. Let's see if I can find the procedure. So we have the McDo 1. Looks like it just failed. Now, I don't know the accuracy of how these faults are working because I don't know if there's supposed to be an ECAM message or not. I wouldn't imagine there's an ECAM for the box failing. So it seems to be pretty legit. Let's take a look here in the abnormal emergency procedures. And it's probably going to be under... These are the hardest ones to look up when you don't have an ECAM, because now when you have an ECAM, you can look up exactly what the ECAM says, and you can find it real fast in the book. When you don't have an ECAM, you have to kind of sift through what it could be. So it's probably going to be under... It's not under nav. It's not going to be navigation. It's probably going to be under... No, not under information. I'm taking a look here. Under supplementary equipment.
Bravo Sierra, don't change from the tower frequency unless you're told to do so. Stay on tower until advised. Stay on my frequency for now. Tower or southbound. Tango approved. Tango, come back to the ramp.
I'm looking, guys.
Where's that 1399? I'm assuming you're still on tower frequency. You hear me? Change departure.
Information. Alright, so we could do a circuit breaker reset, but circuit breakers aren't modeled over here. So we're pretty much going to be hosed, it looks like, guys. I don't think there's a way to recover this. Hopefully we don't lose the other one.
Sorry, multiple aircraft again, Jet 1399, Denver, departure, air contact.
McDo locked or blank. So this is the official procedure. When a McDo locks up or becomes blank, all functions of the FMGS remain available. However, the pilot cannot enter information into the McDo and cannot call up any McDo pages for display. Procedure refer to the reset auto flight system. Alright, so we're going to refer to auto flight reset tables.
3432, Chronos 13.
And yeah, so we would be able to reset
791 Albuquerque Tower, runway 8, clear to land, wind
under system reset. System reset table. Here we are. I wish I could show you guys this, but unfortunately for security, I can't. Let's go back out here.
Charlie, Foxtrot, cross 21 on Echo, hold short, runway 12.
One McDo blank. On ground or in flight, pull the circuit breaker for the locked or blank McDo and push it back in after 10 seconds. The circuit breakers for the McDo are located. Auto flight, 1B49, the overhead panel. So let's see if we can take a look at these. We'll come up here. Auto flight, McDo, here we go. B1. So the circuit breaker panels are displayed in a table, obviously, so we can make it easy to pick them out. So we have 1 through 14, and then letters on the side. So B1, which is right here, is McDo 1. We would reset this circuit breaker right here. We'd go ahead and pull this circuit breaker out, reset it, and we would also reset Auto Flight McDo 3. Oh, that's what we had for 3. We don't have that. Both McDo's locked or blank. We don't have that. So, yeah, we would do the reset, push it out, pull it back in for 10 seconds. If we got it back, cool. If not, we're just going to stay with this. So that's cool. So, asking about failures, there we go. Keeps you on your toes. 132.905 Northwest 183. 132.
Delta 1185, I got full route advice ready.
Alright, so I need to change this out.
1185, clear Salt Lake City Airport, split 4 departure, Kremlin, VOR,
I guess.
Romeo Lima Golf,
Turn.
directing Meeker, Echo, Kilo Romeo, join Lehigh 5, arrival, flying via the SID.
Oh shit. Oops, I don't know if I can say that on stream. Oh great, I was just messing with the radios. Oh, there we go. I was trying to get rid of that COM 2 so I could hear him a little bit more clear. Afternoon Center, Northwest 183, level 340.
Northwest 183, Oakland Center, thanks.
Get that back into managed speed. How we looking? Approaching Lomia. Cool.
On Charlie, continue the ramp via Foxtrot, monitor ground point.
A little bit of turbulence out there today. So, what was I going to say? Spin Cycle was saying about the dual cooling unit, so we went off a tangent there. I apologize. Dual cooling. When you start the Neo motors, if you have a dual cooling on, which is a push button, that would be on the overhead over here, and it will actually use bleed. When you start engine 1, it will actually bleed pressure to engine 2, and it will perform the cooling cycle for 60 seconds or however long it needs to do, so you can start up the second motor right away. The Neos take a really long time to start. I mean, it takes almost 3 minutes to start each motor, and if you got to start 2 of them and they both have to do cooling, you'll be sitting in the alleyway there blocking traffic for upwards of 5 minutes trying to start your motors. So the dual cooling really helps cut down on time, and it also helped that with the issues that they were having with the motor. Hopefully we'll get a Neo and X-Plane. We could play with it. That would be fun. TBM Life. If you want something that's nice for a low price in terms of radio stacks, go for Prop Wash. Otherwise, Souts and others are good as well. Okay, I'll go for Prop Wash. I'm going to write that down as well, man, because I am going to be looking at a radio stack. I don't have any radio stacks. It definitely helps to be able to hand tune the actual frequency. Oh, and you meant Satec. Okay, yeah, I'm familiar with Satec. I'll check them out. I know they have a couple panels. Slam Cannon, thanks for answering. Very interesting topic to me. Awesome, man. I'm glad I could help you out here. India Virtual Aviation, thank you, sir. You're welcome. I am Dimitri. Perhaps you can do a VOR DME approach in your near future streams. Ooh, yeah, we'll have to do a VOR DME. I would do it in the Toliss, but unfortunately some of the ND symbols are still missing, like the bottom of descent and your intercept of descent path and all that. So it'd be negative training if I guys showed you it in the Toliss. I'll have to show you in the flight factor what to be looking for on the VOR approach, and we'll do a VOR approach in the flight factor. Hope maybe we could do it on the next stream. And when you guys remind me, we'll throw it up on the next one, on the next stream. Do they have RTA simulated? Spin cycles, that's an RTA. I'm drawing a blank on that acronym, man. I apologize. I have to elaborate on that one. Wingman, looking forward to all your series. Cool, Wingman. Good. I think it's going to be a good idea to have the little advanced MCDU and ND videos. They'll be shorter videos, definitely, but I know you guys came to this channel originally with that kind of content, and I want to keep producing that kind of content as well. But I do love the piston series, so I got to get that out. I got to finish up the piston series. Josh Turney, hey V1, quick question. What is the purpose of step altitudes? I see them used a lot on long-haul flights. That's exactly where you're going to see them, Josh. And the thing with step altitudes is it's best fuel economy, essentially. So on a really long flight, you got to take a lot of gas. But if you have all that gas, you may not be able to reach your optimum cruising altitude. So what you'll have to do is you'll plan the first part of the flight out at a lower altitude, burning fuel until you have enough performance, or you've burnt enough fuel, enough weight has come off the airplane to where you can now climb up higher to an optimum cruising altitude where you burn the least amount of gas. So if we go to the perf page here, prog page, you can see our recommended max is 380, our optimum is 352, and our cruise is 340. So a step climb would help you out if you needed to, for instance, it would probably say recommended max would be 320, and then your optimum would be below that, and you'd have a cruise. And then as you burnt weight, this recommended max is going to go up, and it'll probably go up to 380, and then you'll have a new optimum, and then you'll climb to that new altitude, and you'll maximize your efficiency flying on a long-haul flight with step climbs. So you do see them mostly on long hauls, so it's pretty rare that you're going to have them on short, intercontinental flights and things like that. Let me go ahead and throw in Seattle here on this McDo, since this is the FO's McDo now. Slam Cannon says, might want to look into FS Cloud. Ooh, FS Cloud? What is FS Cloud, Slam Cannon? Like seeing the wingtips shaking there, that's pretty cool. Kind of an interesting cloud formation we have going on here. So you can see, guys, in the sounds, the flyby, here's a flyby. It's okay. Personally, I think it's a little underwhelming. Definitely got to get those BSS sounds. Let's come up here to the nose. Let's take a look out the front of the aircraft for a little bit. I am Dimitri says, also a DME ARC would also be nice if it is possible to toast or flight factor. Yeah, we could do a DME ARC. The thing with the ARC, 99.9% of the time in the Airbus, if you're doing an ARC, it's going to be preloaded in the box as an ARC. So you're not going to be, twist 10, turn 10 if you're flying props. You're familiar with that phrase. But 99.9% of the time, you're going to be just flying the ARC that's already loaded in the box. There's actually, is there an ARC in Vegas on a, no, there's not, it's just a return. I was thinking if there was an ARC in Vegas, but going down to South America, you do a lot of ARCs, I did an ARC coming out of Cabo the other day when we did the 319 flight and I was recording the data. We did an ARC on the departure, but it's just loaded in the box, so it's kind of just like any other departure that you would do. When you start flying aircraft that don't have an FMS, then it gets a little bit more pilot heavy workload. Wojtek, CYVR says you can also connect voice on Discord. I noticed that you were not setting up trim settings on departure. Could you elaborate on that? Thanks. Yeah, just because I'm kind of lazy. In the real airplane, we just set them on that perf data, like 31 point, whatever it may be. As far as the McDo goes, I've already mentioned it, guys. On the single aisle Airbus, the trim setting on the perf takeoff page doesn't do anything. It's just a mere reminder. I think maybe on the wide bodies, if anybody here flies a wide body, if you can confirm or deny, but I think maybe it actually auto sets on the wide body when you start an engine and you have that THS setting set. As far as in the sim, if it's around 30%, it's going to rotate just fine. But yeah, I should be setting them a little bit more carefully. that's on the FO side that they're always setting the trim, so I kind of just forget and take off. So that's a little bit of sloppy on my part there. I apologize for missing that, but generally, if you're around 30%, you're going to be just fine. The Airbus is going to auto trim immediately on rotation anyway, so as long as you don't have something crazy set or some crazy payload, with a 19% nose up or 19% nose down trim, something crazy like that, you should be just fine. Risty says, "Good day, V1." Good day, Risty. Good to have you here. Vic Sam was trying to pull up the Discord link. The Discord link is in the description. I don't know if it probably didn't pop up with that command, but go ahead and join the Discord, man. It's speaking of the Discord, I have recruited 10 repo pilots. So for every stream and then after stream, we got to get these aircraft back to their home base. And right now, I have 10 guys that have volunteered to be repo pilots, and we track their progress and everything on Project Fly. Now, I'm probably going to need more repo pilots in the future, but if you guys are I wanted to do this, I'm going to post a message in Discord as well, but if you've been a monetary supporter of the channel, you will automatically be included as a repo pilot. So just, if it's something you want to do, send me a PM on Discord and let me know if your Project Fly name is different than your Discord name, because I noticed a couple guys are the repo pilots now. You have different Project Fly names, so it's kind of hard to see who's who. But yeah, whenever there's contracts, when we have to reposition the aircraft for the stream or after stream, I want them all back at their home base in DFW. I post contracts, and it's first come, first served bidding, but I'm going to try to spread out all the contracts so everybody will be doing a repo flight and before another guy does. You're not going to have one guy doing 3 repos and somebody hasn't done a repo yet. So I'm going to try to spread the wealth that way. But yeah, if you were a monetary supporter of the channel, I really appreciate it. And you guys will be, if you want to do it, send me a PM on Discord, and we'll get you set up with repo pilot permissions. And it should be fun, because I want the community to be, I want to be interactive with you guys. I want to give you guys something to do, and it gives you kind of a purpose to fly. It gives you kind of a purpose to do something when you have a contract that, hey, we need to repo this flight. And actually, speaking of that, Captain Tom, I don't think he's in the stream today, but he was the repo of this aircraft. He repoed it into Las Vegas for me yesterday, and so we're streaming it now. Well, obviously, we're going to have a contract go up tonight to repo this aircraft back to DFW. But if that's something you're interested in doing, check it out on the Discord. And I think it'll be fun. It gives you guys something to do, kind of interact with the aircraft that we're flying, and it's kind of fun. Just a Dude 0815 says mainly toilet failure caused delays. That's funny you say that, Just a Dude. So I mentioned I flew a turd of an airplane the other day, and we showed up to the aircraft to take it down to Mexico, and the lavatory was written up for not being able to flush in cruise, which was interesting. And I don't know if we go take a look at the lav. I've actually never even looked to see if it's what we got. Let's go take a walk through the door here. Let's go look at the lavatory. So the lav, is it modeled? Aww. No toilet, but it would be right here. So the lav said it wouldn't flush at cruise, so we're like, okay, whatever, I guess it's deferred, not a big deal. We'll just use the other toilets on the airplane. Well, the flight attendants then come up and said, hey, the toilet is completely full of toilet items, if you will. And so we're like, what? So I went back there and looked at it, and the entire bowl, the toilet bowl, was completely full up to the rim. And I was just looking at the guys flying with us like, man, I don't really want to take off with this because, what if we have to slam on the brakes, or what if it sloshes out on rotation? So we called maintenance to the airplane, and we told them about it. They're like, well, I guess we could try to drain it. And I was thinking, okay, well, that's a good idea. That's what I want to do. I didn't realize by drain it, he meant that they were going to go get a bucket and a ladle that you would, scoop soup out of or whatever, and ladle the stuff out of the toilet and put it in the bucket. So that was pretty disgusting. We took a little bit of a delay for that, but I didn't want it sloshing around in the toilet bowl back there, and we just decided that it would be a good idea to not have that situation. So yeah, toilets do cause delays, man. That was one that's just, oh man, I'm glad I'm sitting on this side of the cockpit door. But the maintenance guy was real nice, though. He was like, yeah, it's part of the job. So we're going to do it. Vertical Simulation says V1 Sim Vegas is a very tough airport to do. Lots of buildings, modeling, and VFR work. Vegas is probably one of the hardest out there. Ooh, interesting. Well, I mean, that makes sense now that you say that, Vertical Sim. I could definitely see where that would be challenging. But I'm excited to check out some of your work, man, on the East Coast. So I hope you tune in for the next one. Hopefully we'll be able to showcase one. Francois Pons says Vegas is available in P3D V4. Cool. Unfortunately, I don't have P3D, so not able to fly that. Just a dude, hey, that is not part of the Waze system. Yeah. In-flight FMGC reset. Yeah. Have you tried turning it off and on again? IT Pro. Slam Cannon says, yeah, we tried to turn them on and off again, but it is done. It is completely dead. So, yep. Simulated the FMGC reset and it didn't work, so we're stuck with that. Let's go ahead and set how far we got here. What are we looking at? 451. Just making sure we are doing okay here.
Cross 13, send a pilot discretion to maintain 12,000, Phoenix altimeter 2980.
Alright, just under an hour.
2980, Cross 13.
Keep that up there like that. How we looking out here? Oh! And that's pretty. I love this old retro Northwest livery. Miss seeing them flying around. 135.15 Northwest 183. So 3515 on the freak. Center, good afternoon. Northwest 183. We're level 340.
Northwest 183, Seattle Center, roger.
Let's go ahead and let the peoples up. Oops. I'll leave that on. If you guys like this cockpit mod, or the cockpit textures, this is the Totemic cockpit mod. I've got it linked in the description. It is awesome. I mean, it really brings the quality of textures to a whole new level. I mean, just look at the overhead panel here. I'll just zoom in on it a little bit. But it really makes this airplane look nice. So it's a free mod, real easy to install. You just download it, put it in your Toliss folder. It's really nice. I guess we should probably turn that on a while ago. That should be out and on as well, but we can't adjust it. Rich T says, did you hear about the SAS pilot that got fired for having over the alcohol limit and he lost his license too? Man, no, I didn't hear about the SAS guy, but I've heard of it happening in the past. There was a couple pilots from a couple airlines, even in the United States, that get popped at the gate for a drug test, and that, you know, that's a shame. I mean, you should never show up to work in that kind of condition, so it's a shame to see that would that go down. Especially since all the hard work that you put into this career to get where you are and get to the position that you're in, to have it come to an end like that for something stupid, it really is a shame. So, I don't know if you guys seen the Flight Factor After Dark stream. I was tipping a few back that night, and you can see why it's not wise to stream or to fly and drink alcohol. That's really serious offense, and it's definitely a license ender here in the United States. Spin Cycle says, dual cooling for dollars, as I like to say. That's right. Bill Barrett, just at work, wanted to stop in and say hi. Well, howdy, man. Glad to have you stop in here. Hopefully you can get off work here pretty soon. Go home, do some X-Plane. Could you also, Tank says, could you also one day do a raw data ILS? Yeah, we can do it. I mean, it's not much different than doing a regular one. I mean, what we could do, we'll put it into, we'll do the Rose LS, and we'll hard tune the frequency. But you're going to be following the same indicators that you would just on an overlay. So yeah, we can do a raw data LS. Shouldn't be a problem. Cienti says, at V1 Sim, know you're a fan of the Hot Start TBM, but any thoughts on the Aerobask E1000? I do not have any thoughts on the Aerobask E1000 because I'm not too familiar with the Aerobask E1000. I'm trying to think. I have an image of it in my head. What is the E1000? Let me look it up here real quick. Is that the
1185 contact departure.
E1000? Oh, okay. No, I haven't flown it.
1185 Denver departure.
I have not flown that aircraft in X-Plane or even really followed it. I didn't know that was out there. How is it? Is it, is it a kind of a study sim level like the TBM? I mean, the TBM, I am a big fan of it. It is probably the most advanced. I don't know how to word it. I mean, there's a lot of systems. I mean, obviously not as much as an airliner, but the way they have everything modeled, from being able to share airframes, remembering the position that you last parked it on the airfield, even when you share airframes with somebody else, the maintenance tracking, everything about it, it's pretty hard to beat. Is Aerobask on that level? I do not know, but it's something. If you recommend it, I mean, it's worth checking out. I could always take a look at it.
Contact Seattle Center 121.4.
Speed check. Hello, V1 simulation from Senegal. Nice streaming. Thank you, sir. Slam Cannon says, prop wash simulation is awesome for radio stacks indeed. A lot cheaper and made better than the SATEC. Okay. I believe they only work for X-Plane 11. Well, that shouldn't be an issue. I don't really plan on getting any other civilian flight sim out here. But, I mean, yeah, I don't think I'm going to go to P3D or I'm definitely not going back to FSX, so I would have to look into it. That's prop wash simulations, huh? Alright, I already have that written down there, but I'm going to put a little asterisk by it. Got a subscriber coming in. Thank you for subscribing, man. I hope you enjoy the channel. I hope you're enjoying the content, and I hope you will continue to enjoy the content that I produce for you. Thank you for the subscribe. I appreciate it. TBM Life, I could testify to that. They use aerospace grade metal and are multi-use. Wow.
2865.
Okay.
13.
That's really cool. Let's, I wonder if we can do a little, go look it up here. Let's see, prop wash simulations. Okay, yeah. Sorry about that. I was trying to get my X-Plane to show.
13, Phoenix Approach, Roger, altimeter 2980.
Trying to get it to show on the camera here, but it wasn't showing over there. Oh, wow, that looks really high quality stuff. And it doesn't look too overly priced either.
133.67.
Wow. Well, thanks for the recommendation there, guys. I'm definitely going to be researching this prop wash here a little bit more. Wow, that is really. Looks like some really quality stuff. This is why I love streaming with you guys. I mean, you've got some really good information that I can become aware of. If the audio is bad here in this one, just let me know. It seems a little bit louder. Spin cycle, FMGC lateral vision. Oh, you can place an RT type required time of arrival at a fix, and when it managed speed, the plane will calculate generated speed to meet the restriction over a fix. Yes. Oh man, you're drawn from. Let's see here. Let's go back to the McDo and lateral revision. Can we do offsets? We can do offsets. Now we can't do offsets. I wonder if in the flight factor we can. I don't know. I'll have to take a look at it. Offsets are really cool because, like Spin Cycle was saying, you can create all kinds of different things from the lateral revision page. One of my favorites is the offset. If you need to offset your course, 10 degrees to the left, and you want to intercept at a certain fix, you can put that in there, and it'll draw it out for you on the ND. So if you're deviating around weather, sometimes when you're going across the water, down to South America or something, or if you're on a track route that you can't deviate too far left and right from, they don't just want to put you on a heading. What you do is you go into your offset page here on lateral revisions, and you say, hey, I need to offset 15 miles left of course for the next X amount of miles. We'll rejoin at X fix, whatever it may be. So that would be cool to see that there. And the holds work. But as far as that, I'll have to check that out in the flight factor, see what they have modeled for in the box there. I knew RTA sounded familiar, I just haven't used it quite. I'm trying to think of the last time if I've ever actually used the RTA. I normally just go lazy mode and I adjust the selected speed to show the fix showing at the proper time. Josh Turney says, thanks for the response, really helpful. It's in vertical revision? Is it in vertical revision? I thought it was lateral revision. Let's see. Yep, so the only vertical revision is access wind data, step outs. Oh, wait a second. We can do step altitudes. So we can do a step altitude at Battleground. You can go step outs here. Now, I want to be careful playing with this because I know I was messing around in here. I'm not going to input the altitude and waypoint here because I don't know if it's a bug or not, but I'm pretty sure I was messing around with step altitudes and I actually caused a crash. Or it might have been the wind page. So I'm not going to be playing around too much here until I do another test. But there you go. You can have your step outs here. I really want to mess with it, but I don't want to crash the sim. So we're going to leave that be.
Joshua for Skyhawk 83 on the numbers level, 7,500.
Just a dude 0815 looks almost like the clouds want to be roll clouds. Yeah, the cloud formation is definitely interesting. Now we're over a pretty solid overcast. I was looking at the METAR in Seattle. It looks pretty cloudy still, so I don't know, guys. I've been trying to get this ORBX scenery to showcase for you guys, but it's becoming really difficult to pick a day where it's nice and clear to go fly over there. Let me just pull up the most recent weather in Seattle. Yep, still cloudy. Broken at 3,700. Gui Sousa says, Flight Deck to Sim recommended your channel. I'm really liking it. Thank you. Awesome. Well, I'm glad you found your way over here, man. Shout out to Flight Deck to Sim. Yeah, he's a 737NG captain, I believe, over in Europe somewhere. And so he's kind of been doing. He's been doing it longer than me, that's for sure. He's been simming and streaming for quite a while. But yeah, kind of you get to see both worlds. You can see the Boeing side of it and the Airbus side of it. I don't think there's any other Airbus guys out there really. I never really looked around. I just kind of I saw a couple tutorial videos, especially like start or pre-fly and all that stuff, and it just didn't look right. So I, went the old adage, hey, if you want something done right, do it yourself. So that kind of sparked the professional series. I wanted to try to make a real clear video series on what happens from gate to gate and do some explaining of some great things that are modeled, and to really appreciate a module. I call them modules, it's a DCS thing, but to really appreciate an aircraft, I think you really have to understand what's going on beneath the skin of the aircraft. It's really nice to know what's going on underneath the skin of the aircraft. How is the fuel being fed? How can we transfer fuel, or things like that. Once you see all those systems working, it really makes the airplane much more enjoyable to fly, in my opinion. So that's kind of what sparked the professional series and the pilot series, about the PTU usage and the yellow electric pump and single engine taxi. Also the ground air starts, on ground surfaces. Why do you have high pressure air? What is that for? What's low pressure air for? So I did the flight, simulated without an APU. So to really understand aircraft and appreciate them, you got to have a little bit of an understanding what's going on beneath the skin, and that's what I'm trying to bring to you guys. JCP123 says, I really enjoyed doing that repo flight. Awesome, man. I'm glad you did. You did a great job. JCP is one of the repo pilots right now. We have 10 of them.
1741, expect a visual approach, runway 10 left.
Riz T says, what is your fleet? Mostly, we've got a couple of Airbuses. I think we got 3 or 4 319s, a couple 320s. I got 2 737-200s that need to be repoed as well. So if you guys are confident in the 737-200, if you're a repo pilot or want to be a repo pilot, post a message in the Discord, and I might be posting those contracts there pretty soon. But I didn't know if anybody was comfortable flying the 737-200. Back around. I love that plane, though. We might have to do another stream in that 737-200. That was a lot of fun. Z Muffin Man says, I am a dispatcher. Also, I'm a dispatcher, so I also see some amusing things before we board our passengers. I believe it, man. There's a lot of interesting things that go down. That's cool. Have a dispatcher in the house. They do all the hard work. I need a dispatcher. Ooh, that's a point. Maybe somebody wants to be a dispatcher for a live streaming event, so you can get the flight plans all filed and the route of flight, and then that way I can just show up and go project fly, and boom. That would be kind of cool. Maybe I need a dispatcher, because apparently I'm really struggling at filing a flight plan and having the right call sign. I don't think I've done it right the first time yet. So Swarm 3513 says, ever think about flying a Janet flight next plane? Ooh, yeah, that would be fun. The 737-200 Janet. So Janet, if you guys aren't familiar with it, is I believe it's operated by I don't know if there are Air Force pilots. I think they're actually civilian pilots, but it's definitely a contract. You gotta have a full background check and everything, and you fly from Vegas to Area 51. And you're taking, scientists, whatever, people that work at Area 51, and you're pretty much sworn to secrecy, and you fly one route. That's Vegas to Area 51. And I think you go to a couple other places, maybe Roswell or something like that. But mostly you're flying in and out of Area 51. So that would be kind of a cool flight to do. I don't even know. I probably should have checked. Is Area 51 modeled in X-plane? Do you guys know? Can you fly to Area 51? That would be kind of a cool flight to do. Just an Area 51 flight. Christian Bell says, are you satisfied with Real View? Can you give us a short glimpse at your current settings, please? Absolutely, man. So let me hop back into the cockpit here. And you want to take a look at Real View. So for right now on the Toliss, so you have to configure it with each aircraft. This is what I currently have on this airplane. I don't have any of this enabled yet, but these are my cam motion percentages. And for G-Force, this is what I have under the G-Force column. And I'm still tweaking this. I believe Q8 Pilot is doing a video on this. I think he said he was doing a video on Real View and how to set it up. So I'm really looking forward to his video coming out talking about Real View, because I've kind of just messed around with it, playing to see what I like, what I don't like. You definitely have to dial it down. I think when I first messed around with it, some of the settings were too high, and it was just kind of nauseating. But if you fine-tune it just right, it's actually pretty nice. I really enjoy it for flying props. If you guys are aware, I'm doing the Piston series on my channel right now, and it's really nice for flying the old props and, you know, that stuff. It is nice for going down the runway and stuff too, in the tube liners. But I am looking forward to Q8 Pilot's video on Real View and how he sets it up. He's fantastic content creator when it comes to explaining things and tutorials. Here's the miscellaneous portion of my Real View. This is what I have set up right now. The speed brake effect, I have that at 0, flaps at 0, because generally the airplane doesn't start shaking, at least the Airbus anyway, doesn't start shaking. I should have the overspeed on. Let's turn overspeed on. Let's put about 20% is good. Gear down, nothing really starts shaking. The only thing that starts shaking in the Airbus is the speed brakes, is your seat starts to vibrate. They call them the vibrating seats. So when you put the air brakes out, the seats will vibrate. But your view, the airplane doesn't really shake too much, so I have that off. But well, for sake of a testing, let's put it on. Let's put it at 16%. We'll take a look at it on the descent if we got to use the speed brakes. And that's pretty much it. So those are my settings for miscellaneous, the G-force tab, and then this is main. I'm a little bit unfamiliar of what the enable pitch hold modes are and horizon hold mode, so I'm a little unfamiliar with that. Like I said, I'm really waiting for Q8 to produce a video on this to get a good handle on how to set it up. But it does vary from aircraft to aircraft, so once you set it up, you've got to set it up in a different airplane if you're flying a different airplane. Alright, let's take a look. How far are we? We are 296 miles. Guys, give me 45 seconds. I'm going to run to the lavatory. I'll be right back. I've had a lot of water, a lot of coffee this morning to stay awake with you guys. So give me about 45 seconds. I'll be right back. And I'm going to tell ATC I got to be off comm just for a minute here. And Center for Northwest 183. We're going to be off comm for about 60 seconds. Is that okay?
Northwest 183, no problem.
Thanks. All right, I'll be right back, guys.
Corridor 13 to 719, 4000.
All right, we're back in business. Got to use the lav, man. Had to use the lav there. And Northwest 183, we're back with you.
Thank you.
Dougal says, blowing my nomedy here, but I once heard a long-haul pilot sharing some crazy stories in an AA meeting. Man, that was scary. Well, hey, man. Gotta get help. Gotta get help. That's good. At least he was there, right? CMT says at V1 Sim, it's detailed. It's really detailed, but not as study level as the TBM, but it's a good value for money. Okay, well, hey, man, I'm all about good value for money and checking out new aircraft. I'm not too familiar with Aerobasque at all, so I have that written down as a note. I'll take a look into it. I do love PT6. It is a PT6, right? I love flying PT6 engines, man. Those were my favorite. I cut my teeth on turboprops. That was kind of my first introduction to flying cargo, and I love the old
Yankee Kilo,
PT6.
turn right heading 140.
All right, let's do a quick setup here for the arrival, guys. Let's see if we can pick up the Addons, and I'm going to get right to these comments. But if you remember last time, the Toliss doesn't seem to transition properly in the box when you put in a different runway. So I want to make sure I've got the right runway set up for Seattle and everything, and so the transitions are correct. We don't want to get another violation. We got violated before. So let's take a look at our chart here. Seattle Tacoma is going to be 18-0 on COM 2. Let's take a look at it. I don't know if we're in range yet. Let's see.
Turn right heading 170. Roger Yankee, I'm sorry, you have the airport or you airport?
Nothing on 18-0 yet. That's all right. So let's just take assume we're going to be coming into 16 center on the Hawks 7 RNAV. So let's get everything set up here. We're going to go back to plan modes, get the ND zoomed up right, and make sure our constraint mode is on. We're going to step through this flight plan here. Oh, you know what? That's funny. We got to step through it on the FO's flight plan because our ours is out. All right, here we go. All right, so battleground is at above 24. So there's battleground at above 24. So let's see. Let's go back to the top of our flight plan. We're going to LKV Lakeview. So this is the start of our arrival. All the way to battleground. P-Terra at above 220. Krieg. And then Hawks, which is 270 knots, 12,000. All right, and then we should have our next one, Hawk 7, continued. So here's Hawks and the continuation. This is where it splits off. So right now we're set up for 16 center over here. If we get 3-4, if they're landing northbound, we're going to have to make sure that when we put in 3-4 in the box that the runway transition will populate. It did not auto-populate on one of my previous streams, and we ended up flying to a fix like this line. We didn't fly to line, but same principle. And we switched the runways, but the aircraft continued off on the old transition, even though it was supposed to populate here. The real aircraft will adjust your transition when you put in a new runway change. The Toliss did not seem to do that. I don't know if it was a one-time bug or maybe it's possible I did something wrong, but either way, I should have obviously double-checked it as pilot flying. So we're going to just keep an eye on it, make sure we comply with this. Right now, everything looks good, though, for the 16 transition. That's 16 left, center, and right. I'm going to request 16 center so we don't have to land all the way out on the right side. Hopefully they'll let us land on the center. And that looks good there. Okay, RadNav, nothing to hard tune. We're going to put KSEA 16 center right here in the box for the GPS bearing distance. Perf data, our descent, we're going to change that. We don't want to come down at 340 knots. We're going to change that to read 320 knots and 7.9er Mach. I know I've talked about this all the time, but if you're doing a cost index of 99, you can do 340.80, but you're going to be up against that barber pole, and if it's
1741, do you have the airport in sight?
Bumpy at all, you'll be bumping into the barber pole there. So back it down just a little bit.
1741, turn left heading 090. Report when you have the airport in sight.
And then let's skip over to the approach. So we're just waiting for environmentals. Let's take a look at runway 16 center, though. And I'm just making sure we have the proper...
Gammajet 850,
yeah, this is 16 center.
119.6.
I'm comparing it with my chart, so I don't have Navigraph yet. I may get Navigraph. So you guys, this chart is a different format than Jeppesen. You're probably familiar with seeing all the Jeppesen charts. These are the free charts in North America that are published. Anybody can access them, but they do have a little bit different layout than what you might be used to seeing with the Jeppesen charts. But everything looks to be the same there. Our DA is going to be 630 for us, so straight at ILS 16 center is going to be 630. Put that right there. So now all we got to do is get our environmentals, and then we should be good to go. So that looks pretty good for now. Let's go ahead and back out to the Hawk 7. We'll keep it there. We're going to get our LS push buttons on. We're going to do, let's do low brakes. Everything else looks good. All right. How far are we to top of descent? Just about 120 miles. All right. Should be set up for the most part. I feel confident now. We'll get a little closer and then we'll listen to the ATIS, get through some more of these comments. Just a dude at 0815 says, I like the Airbus stuff. The Pipistrella Pantera is really nice too, but I am not a real world pilot, so I can't not speak to their depth. All right, well, Airbus is kind of an unfamiliar developer for me, so I will definitely look into it. Wojtek CYVR, well, it's easy on a sim, just clear the weather. Well, I always ask to clear the weather, and nobody wants me to clear the weather. So, oh, here we go, guys. We're coming in now. This is, I think we're definitely in the ORBX range of North America. So, we're going to hang out here in the windows for a little bit. See if I can get a little better. But I always ask to clear the weather, and everyone says, no, I want to see the real weather landing. So we're going to do it. Spin Cycle says, so it's usually right above step outs and vertical revisions. I use it when you need to meet a time over a fix or for the fur entry. Yeah. So, yeah, fur entry coming back in and out of the United States, their boundary, and you need to meet a certain fix at a certain time. You can program that in the McDo. It is helpful. But, man, to be honest, I've been doing so many just local turns. Like, Mexico, Cabo is pretty much the only one I've been doing lately, so can't remember the last time I went down to South America. It's been a couple of years now.
Northwest 183, descend via the Hawk 7, arrival, Seattle landing south.
Alright, descend via the Hawk 7, landing south, Northwest 183. Alright, so we've got a descend via, landing south, so that is what we have in the box. We've got the 1.6 transition. So the bottom should be 6,000. Let's just verify that here. Yes, it is. The bottom of the star is Vashon. 210 at 6,000. So let's dial in 6,000 here. And let's see if we can pick up our environmentals. Oh.
To 1185, contact Salt Lake Center 135.77.
3577, 0085.
Yeah, we're still not getting it.
Centered up 1185, level 340.
Almost.
To 1185, Salt Lake City.
Not quite.
Good afternoon. Salt Lake City is.
All right, so we've got 6,000 set, and our top of descent is 97 miles. We got a headwind, so we're looking good. Christopher Levin says V1 Sim is PBR on in settings. Is PBR on in settings? So you're talking about in the sim? Yes, I believe it is. I don't think there is. Is there PBR? Is there an option for in the Toliss? You're talking about in this actual sim. Yeah. It may be this livery. Is it not shiny enough? Is that what you're... Might just be this livery. Alright. Santi, yeah, the repo was great fun. Yeah, man, I'm glad you liked it.
Thanks.
Carta says, throw me the 737-200. I'll fly it with Siva. Ooh.
Camjet 850.
All right.
Turn right now, heading 050 vectors, visual approach, runway 28 left, instead of maintain 7,000.
Mogu says, I'm going to keep this up here so I don't forget to descend. I don't want to forget to descend as we're talking here. Says, which paper aircrafts do you have for X-Plane, and which ones are your favorites? Well, my favorites are definitely going to be the FlyJSim 737-200,
right turn at Alpha,
and obviously the Flight Factor and Toliss Airbuses. I also have the TBM 900, which I love. Problem is, I'm not a huge fan of G1000, so I get burnt out of the G1000 really quick. It's just, I'm old school, man. I like round gauge, but G1000 is great. I got a lot of time with G1000s as a instructor, but TBM is a great aircraft. That's probably would fit in slot 3. Ooh, I don't know. It tied at third, so we have the 737-200 would probably be my favorite add-on. And then both Airbuses would be there at spot 2. And then in spot 3 would be a tie between the TBM and the King Air 350. Flight 1. Who makes the King Air 350? It's Airfoil Labs, Flight 1, that's FSX. The Airfoil Labs King Air 350 is definitely up there at third. I love the King Air 350. I've flown the King Air series, the 200, not the 350i, and then I've flown a bunch of other Beechcraft smaller ones. I've flown Beech 99s and actually a C90 as well. So I have time in the twin Beech aircraft. I love that one from Airfoil Labs. It is really, really nice. So that's probably my top 3. Sliding in right behind that would be probably the Piper Navajo from Carenado, and then FlyJSim 727. The only reason I haven't been in the 727 heavy yet, flying it heavy, is I'm waiting for my yoke, number 1, and number 2, I was just waiting for, there was a few little bugs that were worked out. I'm pretty sure that worked out when it first got released. There's been some updates to it, so I'm pretty sure it's good to go, but I'm really waiting for the yoke, and I really want to fly that airplane multi-crew, so when they come out with their FlyJSim multi-crew situation, I think that's going to be a lot of fun, and it may sort of the top of the list, because as you guys know, the 727 is one of my favorite aircraft in real life, and that's, if I could fly one airplane, that would be the one I'd like to go fly. So I just got to get there and X-Plane. I'm sure it's coming. Just to do 0815 says Janet is a MIB airline. Oh, okay. TBM Lice says Area 51 does have a payware, I think, but I don't know. We'll have to look into that. That'd be cool to fly into Area 51.
Camjet 850, turn right, heading 080.
There is... Let's see. That ortho, it's awesome. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Igor EK says, hey people, put a like. 70 viewers, 38 likes. How come? Oh, there you go. Igor's getting at you guys. If you like the video, man, I guess we got a thumbs up it. That's what we have to do, right? Dougal says Aerobask is top notch. That's good to hear. Another developer that we can look into. Spin Cycle asks, does anything actually happen if you get violated in Pilot Edge? I don't know, man. I really don't know. I don't know if they put something on your certificate, because you have a Pilot Edge certificate number. But, I mean, it's so realistic that I actually got nervous when he said I was violated the other day. So I didn't like that feeling. Let's see if we can pick up the Addons here in Seattle. Barely. I can barely hear it. I'm trying to.
Camjet 850, turn left heading 360.
X-ray, it sounds like. Let's see if we can. All right, so I think I got all we need.
Damage at 850, continue left
We've
turn,
got, they're
320.
landing southbound, winds are 210 at 6, 210 at 6 knots, and the temperature was 22 degrees with a QNH of 3001. Alright, so now our perf data is complete, and we are just waiting for our top of descent now. Alright, cool. At above 24 for BTG. That's what we're looking for.
13 miles, advising you have a sight.
Jermaine Smith, AAL, I would say American.
Cleared visual approach, runway 28 left.
NSK, do I just say Spirit? Spirit Wings, NKS Spirit Wings is the call sign for Spirit Wings. AAL is just American, correct. You hear them on the radio quite a bit. Sometimes they just say Spirit, but officially it's Spirit Wings. Hi Tote 320, let's check it in. Good to see it. Igor EK, hey V1, cost index 99. Is it kind of normal cost index? Well, it's normal if I'm going home, man. I'm flying 99. Are you paying for the gas? So, I'm not. But no, typically you're going to have cost indexes. It really depends on the flight. I mean, sometimes we get 99, especially if you're running a little bit late or a little bit behind schedule and the dispatcher's on top of it. They'll file you at 99, give you a little extra gas. But yeah, it can range. You can have cost indexes in the 30s. You can have them in the 70s. But go home leg, 99 is pretty common, I would say. Dougal says, V1 simulations, have you ever been certified for MHTG Toncontin? No, I haven't. That would have been, that is an awesome approach, yeah. That would be fun to fly in there, man. That is one crazy approach. There's a lot of cool videos on YouTube of airplanes going in there. So I'd like to do it in X-Plane maybe. I wonder if there's good scenery down there. Or a good, texture file or something. That would be a lot of fun.
Contact to Boise Tower now 118.1. We'll see it.
Goink CD3 it says, I bought the A319 recently. What is a Florence kit? Oh, that's a good question. I was going to talk about that. So the Florence kit, guys, all it is it's a performance kit on the airplane, on the Airbus. Let's see if I have a good wing view. So on touchdown, well, we'll explain it. So on touchdown, what will happen is the ailerons will actually deflect up act as little mini speed brakes, so both ailerons on both wings will deflect up with a Florence kit installed. Also, on takeoff, on your taxi out and on takeoff, you can check it on taxi out, but it's for takeoff. Your flight controls, I mentioned this in one of the pilot series videos. I think it was, I believe it was the single engine taxi video, but on the ailerons here, we have a couple of symbols we're looking at. Where is our descent? I don't want to miss it. Okay, keep that over here. So neutral in flight, you can see that the ailerons are at that little white tick mark. Now, if I were to do maximum left deflection, or right deflection, these ailerons, the little green arrows, are going to go all the way to the top or to the bottom of these tape measures. That is their normal operation. If an aircraft has a Florence kit installed, which this one does, for takeoff, the ailerons will actually droop. So droop means that they will actually hang down a little bit, both of them symmetrically. So you're not going to have any turning tendencies because they're symmetrically drooped, but they're going to be at this little thicker tick mark here on your flight control display. And it's actually a check, before on your taxi out, when you're doing our before takeoff checklist, that we're looking at flight controls. Do our flight control check. We want to make sure that the ailerons are drooped, so they'd be here. And then when you move them full deflection, they will stop at the top of their little tick mark here, and they will stop at the bottom of it here. So the Florence kit basically gives you some better performance for takeoff and landing. So when they're drooped down a little bit, you get a little bit more lift. You kind of create a nice camber over the entire wing, and then of course on landing you get to spoil more lift out there on the wingtips to help with your performance on landing. So that's what the Florence kit is, and it is an option to install. The Flight Factor has it by default, but you can enable the Florence kit right here on the Toliss. You can see I have mine enabled. as an option. But it's cool, you can toggle it on or off. Christopher Levin says that V1 Sim in the X-Plane settings, the contrast is still very strange. The underside of the aircraft is much darker than it would be in real life. Oh, let's take a look at it. And it looks, I mean, it's shadowed, definitely, but I mean, doesn't look too bad to me. Looks good enough for me. I'm pretty happy with it. Frank Dreblin says, do you think a good flight sim pilot could land an Airbus? Ooh. I don't know. Man, you probably would survive, I would guess, if you had memorized my professional series videos. You might be able to survive a landing. I don't know. It just kind of depends, really. I guess it would depend. Simone Tumba says, at V1 Sim, there's a video online by Jeff Faviano of a flight on X-Plane from Vegas to Area 51. There is also a freeware Area 51 scenery on the forum. Ooh, awesome. Well, I will check that out, Simone. Thank you for pointing that out. That would be kind of a fun little, we could do a secret flight in the 737, be a short flight out to Area 51. That'd be cool. All right, guys, we're approaching 5 miles to top a descent. I'm going to go ahead and manage the speed. So we're going to... one dot. I want 1 dot. Push in. There we go. Mach descent. The aircraft is going to start down. We can go ahead and adjust our TCAS to read below the aircraft. And let's get rid of this flight control page here. We'll probably make a descent announcement. We'll get these seatbelt signs on. Generally, you're going to get those on below 18 or at 18,000 feet. I'm going to go ahead and turn them on now. Make a little descent announcement. As I said, our Northwest 183, we're leaving 340 now, descending via.
Northwest 183, roger, thanks.
Mogu says Vertical Simulations, Corpus Christi, KCRP Airport is top quality payware. Would recommend. I do have KDFW by Aerosoft, very high quality. That is my home airport that I love to fly in and out of, so I do have the Aerosoft DFW. I did not know they had a Corpus Christi airport. I might have to buy that one first. Corpus Christi is near and dear to my heart. I did a lot of flying in and out of there back when I was a freight dog, so Corpus Christi, I'll definitely check that one out from Vertical Simulations. Cool. All right, you can hear the engine spooling back now. We are starting down. Everything is looking good. Thrust out of descent. Let's make sure our boxes are set up here before we get into land. That looks good. I would highly recommend, guys, I think I mentioned it at the beginning of the video, but there is a PFD ND mod as well. It's linked in the description that really cleans up some of the lines on the PFD, make it look much better. So if you're wondering why mine looks a little different than yours, it's because I got that mod on there as well. All right, at or above 220 for Patera. That is looking good. Simone says Captain Canada streamed a Janet flight to Area 51. All right, so I guess it does exist. We will check it out. I am Dimitri is saying there is an ebook on the org on Thomas Salm, who flew thousands of hours and passengers without a license. Ooh, I strongly recommend it. Great read. Book's called 13 Years in Heaven. Wow, man. Well, that is a crazy story in itself. I will have to check that out. That sounds like a great read. Trying to see if we can see through the clouds down here a little bit. Wink, great explanation. Thanks, sir. I'm glad I could help you out. Wojtek, looks like your 970 is working out. That looks good. James Donellan says shadows look good. Remember, it is high noon on the west coast. That is correct. Yeah, high noon on the west coast, so straight down. Man, there's a little bit of that ORBX North America there coming in. That looks beautiful. Man, that looks really good. Trying to get a good camera angle here. Maybe we can go over one window. Oh yeah. I have no idea what the airplane is doing. We should probably be up front, but we'll sit here for a few more minutes and I'll jump in the cockpit and we'll get this puppy on the ground. Calvin Senka says, hey, I have a problem with the nose wheel steering with my mouse. I tried toggling nose wheel steering, but nothing seems to work. Please help. You know what, Calvin? I've had a lot of issues with the Toliss 319 nose wheel steering and tiller situation. So what I'd recommend, if you only have a mouse, that's might be a problem. I mean, it's really hard to fly any of these high-quality payload aircraft with just a mouse. But as far as nose wheel steering goes, so joystick roll for nose wheel steering, I have an auto. Excuse me, guys. So with this in auto, it allows me to use my rudder pedals pretty consistently for the tiller. Now, if you want to know about doing the flight control check and how I execute the flight control check, is in the settings in X-Plane, there's actually a Toliss option for NWS, nose wheel steering, disconnect. And the NWS disconnect is this little push button right here. And when you press that down, you're able to execute a flight control check with the rudders and not steer the airplane. And then when you release it, you should be able to steer just like normal. Now, one thing that I cannot do, and I don't know why, but do not touch this tiller with the mouse, because for some reason when I touch this tiller with the mouse, I can't recenter it, and then it's just constantly cocked off to either the left or to the right, and I have issues. You guys have probably seen it in one of those streams I did earlier, coming out of Las Vegas, I think. So, kind of a funky system for the getting the tiller down. I think it's only because we don't have a real tiller. If you had an actual axis or a joystick designated for that, would be great. I was experimenting with using joystick roll for nose wheel steering on at all times, but the problem with that was as soon as I would land, if there was a little bit of crosswind and I try to get a little bit of crosswind deflection in with the ailerons, then my nose wheel steering would start turning off to the left. So then I was all over the runway. So the best way to do it was just kind of use the rudder pedals. Don't use the tiller unless you absolutely have to. And try to use your rudder pedals to steer the airplane. All right, let's catch up, see where we are here.
So 1185, saw your approach. Thanks for Charlie. Descend via Lehigh 5 arrival.
All right, we're at 19,000, about of 12,270 for Hawks. And this little pink dot is a deceleration dot here. It's going to start our speed reduction to 270. Our altimeters for Seattle was 3001. Let's go ahead and set that, and we'll run an approach checklist. 3001, set once. There it is. Once, twice, and 3 times down here. We could run an approach checklist. Briefing's complete. ECAM status is checked. Auto brakes are low. Seatbelts are on minimums. We have 630 set. And the altimeters at transition are 3001 set, passing 17.6. Approach checklist complete. Here comes our reduction. Let's go ahead and put the speed brakes out a little bit. I want to see.
Contact Seattle approach 125.6.
125.6, Northwest 183. We should be slowing down. I don't know why she's not honoring the speed restriction there. Seattle approach, Northwest 183. We are 17.3, descending via the Hawks with X-ray.
Northwest 183, Seattle Center, thanks for X-ray. Expect vector Silas, runway 16 left approach.
I expect vectors LS16 left. Any chance we can put 16 center on request tonight for Northwest 183?
Northwest 183, affirmative, expect that.
Roger that, expect 16 center, Northwest 183. Let's get a little speed break out here, just to see if we get a little vibration. Just a little bit. Alright, at or above 12,270 knots. She made it. 16.9, we're descending. We got to beat Pikes at or below 15. So this is what I'm talking about, missing some symbols. Like, we should have a vertical deviation donut here. That's not being displayed right now. So there's very few things on the Toliss that have just are missing that I'd like to see cleaned up. Actually, you know what? This is interesting. It's displayed over here. Oh, you know why? That's because I wonder if it's linked because of our FMGC is messed up. Hey, that could be why, guys. Our FMGC is messed up. So interesting. I didn't see anything in the manual where it would say that if the McDo 1 was out, so if our FMGC reset didn't work, if we would lose any vertical deviation indicators. I didn't see any of that in the checklist, but that's probably why we don't have the donut there right now. So we're going to watch this like a hawk. 250 knots. There is the decel point on the ND. At or below 15,000, that looks good. Calvin Sinkus says, hey, oh, I answered that. I hope that answered your question. Simone Tomba says, at V1 Sim, could you do a quick tutorial of all the features? What buttons to do of the TCAS box? Ooh, that's a very good point. Yes, absolutely. That would be a short video too, and we could clear that up. So TCAS box. We could talk about that. Absolutely. Tote 320. Are you the official Tote mod guy? Man, I've been talking about it ever since I got it, man. This is a game changer. I love it. Guys, if you I already said it before, but if you're looking for the same cockpit mod that I have by Tote Demek, I think I'm saying it right. Linked in the description. It is awesome. It brings the Toliss up to a new standard of texture work, and it's a game changer. I mean, if you watch that very first comparison video I have on my channel of the 319 versus the 320, and you could just tell by looking at the cockpits that the Toliss was definitely lacking in the cosmetic department. But man, with this mod, I mean, look at this overhead panel. It's freaking awesome. The dirt here, the shadowing on the IR is just awesome. So, Tote 320. You are awesome, man. I really appreciate your work. It is a fantastic add-on to this aircraft. Thank you so much. All right, 13.4. We are approaching Coffee. Oops. Whoops. We don't want to do it upside down. Here's Coffee, approaching Coffee. We are on the right transition. So yeah, we are landing southbound. You're going to get 16 center tonight. We're going to bottom out here, 6,210 knots. Everything is looking good. Everything's looking good. Nothing to look out outside, unfortunately, again. I swear, one of these days, guys, one of these days, it's going to be clear. We're going to get a beautiful Northwest ORBX scenery video in the books. SF2417 says, are you a repilot? Yes, I am. I skipped a comment there. I apologize. Going D3. Would you say 3,500 feet per minute is a normal descent rate for an Airbus? Yeah, it's a little bit steep, I think, but I mean, it's not abnormal by any means. Not abnormal by any means. Hey, Neil Pratt says, hey, I've caught a live stream. Awesome. Glad you can make it, man. Just in time. We're about to do the landing. Hopefully, we can have a good one. I will say this, guys. I know my landings in the sim have not been very good. But I'll tell you what, all this streaming has made my landings in the real aircraft really nice. Matter of fact, 319 I landed the other day. Probably one of the best 319 landings I ever had. I mean, the Airbus got all mad at me because it was so smooth that it had an issue when I tried to bring out the thrust reversers, and there wasn't weight on wheels yet, even though we were on the ground. It just, it threw it for a little hiccup. So that was a real nice, nice landing for me. I mean, the 319, nav IR3 fault. Alright, here we go. Clear the caution. Roger that, nav IR3 fault. Are we drifting? Alright, so nav IR3 fault, clear status, clear status. Status IR may be avail in attitude mode. In-op system is IR3. Let's take a look at that. IR3 in attitude mode. Let's put it in there. And clear status, clear status. Well, you guys were asking about failures. Here we go. Alright, here comes 200. We're at below 10,000 feet. We're going to select speed 250. And we are at a 10. Let's get our lights on. And I'm going to try to look up in the book here real quick before we land. It's going to take some time away from the comments. I apologize. We go COM 2. Bring it up. We're already in COM. For our abnormal procedures. So we have a navigation. Nav IR3. What was the fault? I forget what it was now. IR3.
Delta 1185, turn right, heading 080.
So nav IR3 fault.
080 and 7000, Delta 1185.
Here we go. If IR3 fault, attitude heading switch. If IR3 in use, norm. So actually, it wants us. Okay, so that's an attitude. Oh, so we're referring to a different. I gotta find one with the right ADR. It says IR3 may be available in attitude mode. Refer to IR.
Contact Seattle approach 133.65.
133.65 Northwest 183. So it may be available in attitude mode. We'll refer to those procedures, but this is where we would like to have two pilots flying, so we can have one guy working the book here and one guy actually flying the airplane. Approach Northwest 183, 7.9, descending via the Hawks 316 Center.
Northwest 183, Seattle approach, thanks, altimeter 3004.
3004, Northwest 183. So we've got Cat 3 single only. In-op systems, Cat 3 dual. Oh, so in case of IR3 fault, though. No, in case of IR3 fault, TCAS may be inoperative depending on the TCAS manufacturer. If IR1 is available, we're not worried about IR1, it's IR3, so we can skip that one. Attitude information is lost on one side, captain or first officer. Interesting. Alright, well, we're going to keep it in that mode right now. We're going to clear the status. That would be a ride up on the ground. And we're just going to make sure everything is working properly here. So we got an IR fail or fault for one of them. So that's cool. Cool to pull out the book like that. Man, you guys need to stop talking about failures because now we're just getting all kinds of failures. Hopefully we can just get on the ground here.
1185, contact Salt Lake City Tower 132.65.
Carter says, Tote 320, yeah, I love the detail on the panel above the terrain or HD put on the light, just looks awesome. It sure does, man. Dougal says, Tote 320, it's people like you that make X-Plane great. Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more. Alright, this guy likes to leave me high and fast, so I'm going to... Oh, shoot, we should be at 210 anyway. It says going to reduce speed. Let's get those brakes out. Vibrating seats activate. Fashion 210 at 6,000. We're at 6 and plus 10 knots. Close enough. All right, so we're waiting for vectors on him now. We're sitting right at green dot. Let's go VFE minus 10 flaps 1. Don't really like sitting brown right on green dot. Igor EK says, V1, do you feel a difference between the 320 and 319 in real life and an X-Plane? Yeah, you absolutely do. And I kind of highlighted it in my very first 319 versus 320 comparison video in X-Plane. And surprisingly enough, it does feel, you can tell there's a difference when you fly both aircraft.
Northwest 183, flight present heading vectors to the island, runway 16 center. Approach and descend and maintain 4,000.
All right, present heading, descend and maintain 4,000, Northwest 183. All right, 4,000 blue, thrust idle, open descent. We're going to stay on the heading. And to shoot a line, we're going to clean this up here. We're going to go direct, anvil, and our final approach course was 164. So that's going to be 342, I believe. No, what did I say? Yeah, 344. So, boom, insert that. Make sure we pull heading so we don't intercept it. And hopefully we have... I didn't draw it out. Well, it's being a little funky. It's getting a little upset at me now. Anyway, we've cleaned the box up. We're descending 5,000 for 4,000. I'm going to reduce to 180 here because he's probably going to turn me in. Let's get those speed brakes out. But yeah, back to the 320 versus 319. You really can tell a difference, and you can tell a difference in X-Plane quite a bit, which I was surprised. The 319 does feel a little more...
Northwest 183, turn right heading 080.
Right turn 080, Northwest 183. Does feel a little bit more hot rod-ish, if you can even say that about an Airbus, than the 320. But yeah, it's... I like it. You can definitely tell that you're in a 19. And don't spool up on me. Come back to 180, please. And we're at a 10,000 feet. I should have activated and confirmed when we went through 10,000 feet, but we already flew through it. So it automatically did it for us.
Alpha, echo to the ramp, monitor ground 123.77.
Tower is going to be 19.9er. Let's get that ready to go. Yeah, spinning these radio knobs are kind of a pain in the butt, I'm not going to lie. Just because they don't skip very fast. Doesn't help when you go the wrong way either. Alright, 19.9 is in the secondary. VFE next, minus 10. Flaps 2. Alright, so we are set up. 2,000 feet, 180 knots. That's what our window is. We're looking good right now. We're looking good.
Northwest 183 is 8 miles from Soto. Turn right heading 130. Descend and maintain 3,000 until established on localizing for the ILS. Runway 16 center approach.
All right, right turn to 1303 till established. Cleared ILS 16 center approach. Northwest 183. All right, so we have our approach clearance. We're coming right to 130 down to 3,000 feet. And when we get cleared for the approach like that, we go ahead and come up here and go approach. And boom. Cat 3 dual, autopilot 1+2. Glide slope blue, loc blue. Fun What Tang, this is really inspirational. I'm glad, man. I'm glad it's inspirational. I'm glad you're enjoying it. It'd also be inspirational if we don't fall out of the sky because we flew through ice. No, we're good. 18C there. I didn't even look. Got distracted. All right, speed alt star. We're at flaps 280 knots. I always talk about that window being 2,000 feet above touchdown at flaps 2, and you'll be stable every time. Here comes Loc Star. The localizer is alive. I'm going to pop these out, guys, for landing, so it's a little bit easier for you. I'm going to zoom the camera back. Try to get us in a good position here. me shrink them just a little bit. All right, we have the glide slope coming down. That looks good. Wait for glide slope capture. There it is, glide slope star. We can go ahead and set our go around altitude, which I believe for this one initially our go around is going to be lower at 2,000. Just verify that. Yep, the initial go around is 2,000 feet. 2,500. Let's see, field elevation, what did I say? The field touchdown zone is actually 430 feet. So we'll call it 2,500 is going to be our 2,000 above touchdown, which is right about now. Let's go ahead and manage the speed. Gear comes down, arm the speed brakes.
Northwest 183, contact tower 119.9er.
19.9, Northwest 183, sir. Tower, good afternoon, Northwest 183, ILS 16 center.
Northwest 183, Seattle Tower, runway 16 center, clear to land wind 2206.
Clear to land 16 center, Northwest 183. All right, VFE next, minus 10, flaps 3. We've been cleared to land, so I've got my taxi light on the landing position. VFE next, minus 10, flaps full. Cabin crew advised. Boom. Let's do a before landing checklist. Before landing checklist, briefing's complete. Oh, I'm sorry. Before landing checklist, cabin crew advised. Auto thrust is in speed mode. ECAM memo, landing, all green, landing checklist complete. Wow, we're in and out of the clouds here. Good thing I didn't just go visual. Landing checklist is complete, guys. We're going to go ahead and turn off the autopilot. All right, we're hand flying it. Runway's in sight, landing. Now, I was saying my real landings have been really good after all this X-planing. Now, hopefully I can get a good landing in X-plane. The 319 does seem to be, in my opinion, the trickier of the three of the family of the 19, 20, 21 to land. It just seems harder to get that nice soft touchdown. It just kind of drops in the real airplane too. We're below 1,000 feet. We're stable. Landing. Whoa, the bottom just fell out of me there.
South 507, contact North Charles departure.
Departure now.
See that? Oh, you know what? That's the FMG. That's. I know what that terrain warning's from. We'll talk about it here in a minute.
South 507, NorCal, departure, radar contact.
We're down. Reverse green. Spoilers. Reverse green. Decel. That terrain warning is from the IR being out of place, guys. It's kind of cool. All right, here comes 70 knots. Manual brakes.
Northwest 183 left at Papa, cross runway 16 left into the ramp on Bravo. Monitor ground point 7.
Papa, clear to cross 16 left into the ramp, monitor ground point 7, Northwest 183. All right. We have to not forget to disconnect from Pilot Edge for the replays. 108 feet per minute on touchdown. Height above threshold was 69 feet. I was a little high there from center line. 8 feet off center line. That's not my best. We're going to go ahead and just clear the left side of the runway here before we reconfigure the aircraft. Whoa, we got a little bit of a stutter as I look around here. All right, we're going to come off the gate here. Luckily, our gate is right there. Let's go ahead and start the timer. We're going to monitor ground point 7. And let's clean up the airplane. There it is. All right, flaps are coming up. Let's go ahead and get these off. I wish you could mouse wheel switch these. That's one of my kind of annoying for me, but taxi light's on, that's on, and flaps coming up. Disarm that. Boom. All right, we are looking good. We are looking good. Let's get the APU fired up. So I'm assuming I should have had the Jip Whiz probably should have been off. And we've got our gate straight ahead. We're going to go ahead and turn off the nose light. No marshaller here. It's a shame. It's awful close to that jet bridge. Right there. Brakes are set. APU is available. We've got close to 3 minutes. We'll go ahead and kill engine number 2. Seatbelt sign comes off. Engine number 1. We'll get the bleed on.
Solid 507, contact Oakland Center 132.905.
Let's disconnect from Pilot Edge before we forget.
Disconnected.
10% N1. We'll get that beacon light off. And let's go ahead and do the rest of our flow. So the pumps are coming off. Bleed is on. Set the temp nice and cool. Signs are off. Alright guys, welcome to Seattle. Brakes hot cam, 410C on the left side there. I was using the left brake a little heavy. You could see that. I love to see that wear just like that. I mean, that's good. Good. We were pretty heavy. Alright, welcome to Seattle. We've disconnected from Pilot Edge. And now we're going to try to do a replay. So, we're going to stay in the cockpit. We're going to pause the sim. And now we're going to try to do this without crashing anything. Whoa. Alright, that's a little loud. Here we go, guys. We're going to watch all the views from inside first, and then we will watch the outside views. Let's go ahead and take a look at the wing view. Let's get back to some of these comments here. We'll finish up. All right, Martin Hidalgo says, I'm new with the Toliss 319. What tutorial do you recommend to learn how to program the FMC? I recommend my Airbus Professional series for you. Fun one. Dang, on my channel, I've got basically a day in the life of an Airbus pilot and how we program the box and go through things like that. Stay tuned to the channel. I'm going to have more videos covering the FMC specifically. This is kind of cool here. I just had a look at this vapor coming off the wing there. We'll be watching for the Florence kit on touchdown, guys. See if that aileron deflects. Slam Cannon says, does anyone know what happened to Vertical Simulations KBFI? I saw it on the store and it's gone. Well, I would like to know as well. I'd like to have BFI or BWI, Baltimore. Carta says, this amount of failures, how have you not had an engine failure yet, LOL. Yeah, man, I don't know. At this point, I'd rather just have an engine failure than dealing with all these random FMGCs and IRs and things like that, so. Dablo claims says, how close is the 319 to stubby level? It's pretty close, man. It's pretty close. It's getting close. There's the Florence kit, guys. You can see the ailerons are deflected. Alright, let's pause it here. Let's move to this view. And let's rewind it. Try it again. Oh, no. I swear, guys, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. That's excessively loud. Well, we tried, man. I tried. I'm going to have to figure out this thing. I don't know what is going on with the replays. I thought if I stayed in the cockpit that it wouldn't be a problem. But there we go. There's our crash in the replay. I'm having issues with replays, guys. Help me out if you have any answers. I'll finish up these comments. We'll get out of here. Let's see. Carta 319 is less than study level. It's lacking in the McDo. I think the 320 has much on that, but the A320 doesn't have failures yet. Yeah, the 320 is definitely more complete, especially with the McDo simulation and some of the symbols on the PFD and ND. And Wojtek Sevier, how you extend the center line from Anvil? You put it in the direct to, and you take your inbound course and you flip it around to an outbound course, and then you can put a direct to in there, and it will draw an extended center line for you. I am going to put I'm going to put that in the video series for the advanced tips and tricks. I know a lot of guys are asking about that, so I'm going to do a real detailed video on that, so everyone will clear that up for you. Carta says, V1 Sim, do you always turn AP1 and 2 on for ILS if you're not going to do an auto? Yes, after every approach, when you're cleared approach, you arm the approach push button, get both autopilots on until you determine that you're going to hand fly. All seems much more relaxed to the 732. Yes, it sure was. Another greaser. Thank you, boss. Butter, nice and smooth. Such a shame. Happens to plenty of people. Thanks, Pilot Boy, Dougal, Martin. Thanks for tuning in, guys. That's going to end it for this stream. I mean, I wish we could have watched that landing. It was pretty good, 106 feet per minute. But that'll do it. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Appreciate you supporting the channel. Make sure you join the Discord if you haven't to stay up to date with everything. And I will catch everybody else at a later day. Y'all take care now. Have a blessed day wherever you are.